3, 2, 1. Dude, it's live.
What's up?
Memorial Day.
Right.
We got a full house, man. I'm going to be like a rock star and just do it this way.
Yeah.
Well, because I have the other one over there, and I was like, well, is it long enough? And I was like, man, I don't, it's stretching across the middle of the screen. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with that, man.
Well,
Yeah.
looks like you figured it out.
That works.
You can hold it for a little
My
while.
hands work. And
Yeah.
if it gets tired, luckily I have another
Like,
hand.
we're going to have a
There you
lot
go.
of that's what she said jokes going on right now. This is
I was
just
like, hey,
spiraling.
it may get ugly today. I have no idea.
This is forewarning, yeah.
Exactly. Dude, so Memorial Day 2018. You did, well, I mean, you got gold standing. I like that shirt.
No,
But
yeah.
it's not Memorial Day shirt. So
It's
we're going to have to
comfortable. Oh, I'm sorry.
smack. We'll drape the flag around you later. It'll be
That's
it'll
fine.
be good.
Wear like a cape.
We'll get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got Mike the Cop?
I got Mike the Cop shirt. He came out with one with Relentless, Execute Cop Killers, so down with that.
Yeah. So shout out to Mike the Cop.
Yeah.
Hopefully we could coerce him to come on.
Well,
if he
I'm
ever
gonna
gets to
try.
H-Town, man.
I'm gonna try. He's gonna be coming back. He's gonna be coming into H-Town a little bit more often now that he's got a little association with Relentless, and so
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
I will give him a refreshing bottle of water like he's never had.
Well, he trains jiu-jitsu up there in Detroit, so I've got that little connection. So maybe I can,
Okay.
I'll choke him out a couple times
Yeah.
and bring him over here.
Detroit.
He'll just
enough,
wake
yeah.
up. He'll just wake up here at the studio.
Detroit. Did you see that? I don't know if y'all watched the social, right? So we had Matt Patricia was the defensive coordinator for the Patriots or a coach for the recently defensive coordinator, but been there for 15 years. And when they came here for the preseason game last year, we had the field passes and did all that kind of stuff. He saw Coy, came over, he said something to him, he gave him a little high five, and walks off. Well, we got a picture of it. So right before, a couple weeks before the Super Bowl, we had sent some stuff to his office, knowing he was going to be the head coach of the Detroit Lions, right?
That's
We're
pretty
like,
cool.
dude, just get there, like get to him, whatever. So Coy wrote this note to him and the whole thing. Well, we just got it back Saturday.
That's
So
pretty
he
sweet.
signed it, wrote a little
Nice.
note back, did the whole thing and all stuff, and it's all on the Detroit Lions. That's why you said Detroit.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's
that's
all on the
pretty
Detroit
sweet.
Lions thing. So I was like, I'm like, damn it. Steph's going to be pissed, but we got to be from Lions fans now, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna put it?
I don't,
Because
I
I
don't know, man.
don't.
Well, see the photo.
shrine.
Yeah, I know. See the photo. He's still in Patriots gear, so we're a-okay. The letter. What I'll do is the mat of the letter will cover the Detroit Lions a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And we'll just do it in the right.
I don't know. I just saw your girl putting on Patriot tennis shoes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have no idea. Dude.
I don't
Yeah.
think she allows another. I'm scared to try to wear a Dallas Cowboy jersey in here or anything. I'm really second guessing myself on even doing
well,
that.
you're safe because the Cowboys have been no threat
Oh,
during
here we
the
go.
during the recent era.
Here we go.
Right.
Here we go.
Prior to that,
Here we
there were
go.
spankings.
Here we go.
Yeah.
That's, we'll see. See what happens this year. Well, I don't even know if they play each other this year.
No, they don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they. I know they've played each other. Let me take that back. I know at some point in time they've played each other.
Well, it's
and
been
I
a
can
couple
Google it.
years. Tony Romo and Brad Pitt. I was about to say Brad Pitt. Tom Brady. I guess they're in the same stratosphere. Him and Tom Brady. They had that shootout a few years back.
Yeah,
Tom Brady got the best of it at them, but whatever.
that was years ago.
That was probably like 5-6 years ago.
That's when you were still in diapers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I believe so.
Well,
I
5
believe
Wait,
so.
how,
Yeah,
how old are
5, 6.
you? I don't even.
22.
22.
Yeah, he has to relax a little bit.
I am
Yeah.
double. I am double your age. Oh my god.
Yeah, see.
I don't realize how old I am. Like I don't think of it. Like I don't look at you like a 20. You don't look like a 22-year-old guy to me. You look like a normal guy.
Yeah.
But then when you say 22,
that's what
I'm
I'm going
going,
for,
how
yeah.
fucking old am I?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense. You know?
Old as dirt, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Because that's like when I was talking to you. I was like, I knew you were young, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, younger guy said that, and he was kind of figuring it out. And then with mannerisms, he's just not a traditional millennial, man.
That's a good
That's
thing.
what-
I
yeah,
think.
that's all
I
it
think
came
it's a
down
good
to.
thing.
He's a millennial in the sense that he was born in the age of millennials, but you're like a Gen Xer or Gen Y.
I think
you know,
I'm Gen
like,
X, right?
I don't know.
I think we
Fuck,
looked
all
it
that
up one night, and we were trying to figure like millennials extend longer than you think.
Yeah.
I think if you're born like in 87 on, that's a millennial, or maybe even earlier, 83 and on, something like that.
Wow,
They're considered
really?
a millennial. Yeah, because that freaked me out too. Because I was like, what? Because I always thought of millennials as like 90 and up. But
Yeah.
it's a little
Yeah.
longer than you officially. And yeah, I think I'm a Gen X.
It's got to be, to me, I'm going to say 90. Whoever wrote the definition again.
I would go with 90.
Who's going to
'cause
adjust this? Yeah.
I think anybody over 30 is pretty. got their shit together for the most part. Well,
No,
you had that guy that was
Surprised.
Yeah.
the guy that got evicted by his parents.
Yeah.
Did y'all hear about
Yeah,
this
yeah.
guy? So I withdraw my last statement.
Yeah.
And I know
there's
some
some.
people that live still with their parents and they're over 30.
Yeah, there's some. I mean, but hey, for the most part, if you're 27, 28 years old now, I think you're beyond the millennial tag.
I don't know. Maybe millennials should just mean early 20s with some exceptions.
Oh, no. Well, I
They're
mean,
good with that. Yeah.
Right?
They
Or
gotta
to mid 20s, because I know some in their mid 20s that are
I feel like you have to be at
super
least 18.
entitled. Like it's
Yeah.
so crazy. They feel like they should be in charge of everything at 26. They know everything.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, what?
yeah.
Like you realize you don't know shit.
Dude, it's insane. So the joke, us to the millennials, I feel the same way, dude. I don't know how you feel an age. I think that's a little bit of a
Right,
jacked up
right.
thing, right? To say I feel an age, but like I don't feel my age. When I'm walking around and I'll just use the gym because we're all at the same place. I'm walking to the gym and I'm seeing people of all this huge age range.
Mm-hmm.
And if you said if I just instinctually placed myself, I would probably place myself at right around 30, as far as walking around and looking at people and things of that nature. As far as how I feel, excluding my spinal thing and an occasional muscle pull, which we all get, whatever. I would think I would feel like I'm in my teens comparatively,
I don't know if I go to my teens.
right? Because I can still run, sprint. Do
I go
these things.
30. I feel like I'm in my early. I say that for the most part. Yeah, I feel like I'm in
Yeah.
my early 30s.
And I'm saying in comparisons.
Yeah.
Now, if you put me next to a 20-year-old athlete that you make everything as comparable as possible except age, I'll get blown away,
Yeah.
right? For just straight output. When you put in wisdom and things of that nature, obviously
yeah,
we're going to
yeah.
play with it a little bit. But,
Right.
yeah.
No,
I don't know, man.
Like I'm 80.
You feel like you're 80?
God awful. Yeah. Back pain, hip pain, knee pain.
That never goes away.
Yeah.
I think we just get. I think we
as
just get
much.
used to it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
You
that's-
start popping more and more, leave.
Yeah.
One time we were up in Seattle, a bunch of us, we were there for a seminar, and there was like, I don't know, we were all crashing at my brother's house at the time, and my mom was staying with them, and moms are always going to be moms no matter how old you are, and so we all trained, and we were training that day all day. We got home, and we were going to go out and do some stuff, but my brother has a big giant jar of pills because he's popping pills too because he's training all the time.
Yeah.
And so we get it and we're like, Candy, hey, what do we got? We start throwing each other, little it's just like a leave and ibuprofen or whatever, but we're popping like 3 or 4 at a time, and my mom's freaking out like, guys, what are y'all doing? You're gonna OD yourselves. Like, Mom, it's a leave, calm down. We do this all the time. We need the pills to
Do this all the time.
our body's hurt. Our body's always hurt. We gotta do something.
I was that years ago, because anti-inflammatories and NSAIDs.
Yeah.
and all that kind. This was a decade ago. I'll say at least, right? So I was like, yeah, dude, you really, fish oils and turmeric. Fish oils and turmeric, right? When turmeric was kind of right on the front end of being like, legit anti-inflammatory, right? I'm like just like take my fish oils with mustard. I seriously, I remember saying that. I was like, this dude looks at me like, the hell? It's like, I thought you were smart, man. I'm like, turmeric. I was like, just put some in a capsule, dude. Like, what do you make turmeric? He's like, no, they make supplements of turmeric. And you got to remember, I've been in the supplement industry for ages.
Yeah.
Nowhere on the blip at that point in time. This was like a goji juice or, all these.
Right.
I'm trying to think. Mona V. You remember Mona V?
No, I don't.
You don't, right?
I don't take a lot of supplements.
Nope.
I've
No, these
never
are the-
taken a lot
that's
of.
all on you.
Yeah.
Special fruit. Like they came in it's a fruit juice that came in like a wine bottle, and everybody's selling it, saying like the cure for end all be all.
Well, they say that about everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude! But it was like it was like one of those things because you could only get it from special MLM people at the time, right?
I don't remember it. They've come out with so much stuff. I can't remember anything anymore. Like we start talking about stuff 20, 30 years ago, and no. I don't remember. I'm old. Like I'm literally. There's so much stuff has happened, and you just forget a ton of shit, and you just until
It's
something
useless
pops up.
information.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I guess your brain just like that was stupid.
you don't need
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Don't need this. Let's
Yeah.
put it away.
You only have limited space in there anyway. Let's start dumping
Yeah,
some
exactly.
of this stupid shit out.
Limited.
I,
Speak for
I'm
yourself.
talking about
dude.
myself.
I was
I'm
like,
not
hey.
talking about you guys.
I was born with the gift of a lot of space except zero space for names.
Oh, I'm the worst. You would think with my job I'd be really good at names. No, I'm terrible. I will forget someone's name. The other day, someone said hi to me, and my girlfriend was like, "Why don't you introduce me?" I'm like, "I don't know their name. I see them all the time, but I don't know their name. I don't remember."
The trick. Okay, this is valuable for both of you guys. Because this is me. When somebody's like, I'm like, "Hey, yeah, Jason." They're like, "Hey, yeah." That's exactly what I hear, right?
Yeah.
I don't even hear the name. So then I've got to introduce my wife or or whatever. And it's like, if it's you and I'm introducing, like I just met him.
Right.
Right. Now I don't know his name because it came out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I remember your name because I saw it. And so I had the photograph from memory. So I saw it on my phone. So now I know your name, right? It's good. So I'm like, "Hey, Jay, hey, come here, I'm going to introduce you. So this is my buddy, Jason. Excuse me."
Oh my God.
Sorry, man. I can get a sip of water.
That's not bad.
You're gonna cover it. See, you're gonna give me a name, and
I don't know. I try to. So this is my trick. I'll usually just go, "Hey, have you ever met so and so? This is so and so." And usually they'll. Most people, I think some people they know. Like,
Yeah.
Just to kill the awkwardness.
Yeah.
"Hi, I'm Jason," or "Hi, I'm so and so." Not everybody does it though. They'll be like, and then you're like,
Yeah.
they kind of look at you like, "Okay, introduce me." You're like, "Fuck, I don't remember your name. Sorry." It's not personal. I suck at names unless I see you every day.
Yeah.
I suck at names.
Well, the system that I have down now is, so if I have two people, I'll just say, "Hey, this is so and so," and then just let them do their thing. I'm not in
just
charge
like
of introducing them. That's on
That's
them.
not bad. That's not bad. That's
it
not
works,
bad.
man. It works.
Strategy. I like that.
When you
helps
get
them.
a little older, people expect you to remember their name.
Well, they're gonna be
Like
sorely
steak,
mistaken.
keep on expecting. This ain't gonna work. So it's Memorial Day, right? So obviously, a good chunk of America doesn't have a clue what the difference of Veterans Day and Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not offended by this because I know it's ignorance. Okay, so I know when people come up to me and they know I served and they know these things and they're like, "Happy Memorial Day." Thank you. Pat them on the head and just walk away, right?
Right.
And I know a lot of people, you see the posts, you see the memes, you see all the, I mean, even all the media does a really great job of trying to explain it. And they do these clips and even commercials. Local news has commercials trying to explain what it is. Right. So it's obviously, without getting into massive definitions, is there, I'm just curious, like traditions. Is there anything you guys do like traditionally for Memorial Day or?
Traditionally, I've always worked. But this is my first. This is my first. Now that I'm on the other side, this is my first time where I actually have weekends and holidays off. Like my dispatcher even told me Friday, "Hey, you know you don't come in Monday, right?" I was like, "Yeah, I do." She's, "Well, I just want to double check," and I was like, "Yeah, I got it.
Because we're not paying you overtime.
Yeah, we're not paying you to come in Monday. You're going to be by yourself in the back office." And I was like, "Okay, I'm not coming in.
So new tradition, you can start something.
So today we actually, because my brother just moved down here from Seattle. So yesterday we went and picked up he got a brand new grill.
Nice.
So we're gonna grill out and hang out and family time. Watch the Rockets tonight because they close it out. Hopefully, CP3 back. Have you heard?
No, I don't know.
That's a problem.
I glanced a second ago and I was like,
I have to talk to Dream about that. That's a problem.
Yeah, we're gonna hit that in a second. What about you? You guys do any traditional stuff? Or?
Usually we just cook out.
That's just I think that's it, especially in Texas, dude. It's just
I've heard some people say they should. So I guess I just found this out. Memorial Day was actually originally on May 30th, and it was in response, I guess, to the end of the Civil War. And I guess there's a little story about that, remembering the dead. And I think it was called President's Day or something like that. I can't remember. It had a different name for about 10 years, and then they changed it to Memorial Day. And some people talked about the problem is that it turns it just a 3-day weekend. So people don't think of Memorial Day as remembering the fallen. It's turned into it's a 3-day weekend. Let's get drunk Sunday and Monday.
Exactly.
Is what it's turned into, right?
Exactly.
So some people suggest like just keeping it on the 30th, so wherever it falls, it falls. If it's in the middle of the week, it's different. Like people have to actually think more about it.
Yeah.
And that's what happens like with Veterans Day and things. There's so many days that are just a day, right? As opposed to Election Day, first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Like there's all of these things. So it's like, well, it's just going to be a Monday. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like Labor Day.
You know what else was cool about? I found out about this too, was they said that May 30th was chosen because it was like the only day there wasn't a major Civil War battle on. So it was like, okay, we'll choose May 30th.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look at that.
Yeah, well, I heard that this morning, and I was like, whoa, like
Well, I
that's
knew May
crazy to
30th.
think
I
about
remember a
that.
different name. I remember all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, wait, was it a treaty signing day? Was it like I was trying to think of what?
Yeah, they said it was because there was no major Civil War battle on that day, but there's so many Civil War battles.
Yeah.
Like it's like almost every day there's some crazy battle they're remembering. Well, there wasn't one on the 30th, so they're like, well, we'll do that on the 30th. Or some general decided that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
That was
like it.
interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's good. I'm just thinking, a day. We just, like a day in the sense of make it the 20th, make it the 30th, pick any day.
Yeah,
but make
just
it
keep
a,
it there.
a specific
and if it falls
day.
on a Monday, then cool. But
Yeah.
although now that I'm on this side, I'm kind of against that. I kind of like to keep the 3-day weekend.
Look at you.
I can enjoy that 3-day weekend.
yeah, it's kind of nice.
And I mean, you could make it like a week, 2 weeks later. Who really cares at this point in time? You'd pick it's just a day of remembrance, right?
Yeah,
So
people
we've
would-
already changed it, so it can't be that. The day itself can't necessarily be that important, right?
I agree with you.
Because it's a different day every year, right? So you just because we've already
No,
changed it,
yeah, I
right?
totally agree.
So I'm thinking put it a couple weeks later, then it's in summer. All the kids are out of school anyway, and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff, right?
Is it kids out of school now? Wasn't Friday their last day? A lot of them.
Like ours is this week.
This
It's the
week?
last week.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It just I think it depends
Yeah,
on
you're
the
right.
district and all.
You're
that.
right. You're right.
We're all private. And,
Yeah.
whatever,
Well, I don't know.
not-
I'm okay with how it is, but it would be cool too if people actually knew what.
That's just like,
Yeah, I think that's the priority.
I think we should.
Well, it actually bothers me. I was thinking about this. This is a little random. So last night we're getting ready to make dinner, and we had gone to the store, and we got meat for today. So we're like stuffing it in the fridge, and you're like, man, I got no food, no room for food. I thought, fuck, what a problem to have. Like most of the world has no clue what this feels like. They're like scrounging for food on a daily basis. There's no such thing as they got so much food they don't know what to do with it. And but like a lot of that's just, thanks to the way our country has developed, and thanks to the people who have gone out and laid down that ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's why we freaking have this shit. Like that's why we're like all fat and overweight and
Yeah, exactly.
because of what people have
Yeah.
done for hundreds of years before us in
Yes.
this country.
Yeah. Like really for sure. So it was just I was just thinking about it. I know it's a little random, and it's sure as shit. As soon as we do that, they show some commercial where people are scrounging for food. I'm like, it's like 80% of the world right there, 85% of the world.
And there
right
are people here starving in the U.S. and I get all that, but I mean, as far as abundance,
I don't think people here starve the way they do.
No.
Well, you should know.
No,
you
no,
know.
no,
They,
no,
other.
they do not. They do
I
not.
remember going back to my young days. We were deployed to Panama, and I don't know if you ever got the pleasure of going to Panama.
Yeah.
Okay, so I remember we were driving down this highway, going out to where we were supposed to be at, and you see people living literally in grass huts on the side of like these. They have these huge mountains and hills, and like they're literally made of like giant leaves, and they're all real tiny, and they'd be like little tiny villages, literally on the angle of the mountain, and like one of these little things is a house.
Yeah.
And so you could see them outside while you're driving down this highway.
And they'll knoll in to the, I'll say mountain, to the hill. They'll knoll in. So
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
not-
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So you think this is how they live.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't think it's cool. I would suck if I had to live out there like that because they get these monstrous monsoon rains down there and stuff. I was like, how do these things even hold together?
Yeah.
I figured it out. But that's how people live.
Yeah.
You're not like this,
You get people
Yeah,
here. And
within
they're-
an actual structure.
I mean, I don't think it would, like it wouldn't pass our building codes.
Well, okay. So this is one of these. This is one of these deals. So we have the feral pig issue in Texas, right? Other states as well, but we got it in Texas, right?
Texas is pretty bad.
So for several years, hunters and ranchers and so on and so forth would get these pigs, these feral pigs. They would shoot them because obviously we're trying to control the population. They would go pay for the butchering process and make various different kinds of meats and things like that and give hundreds of pounds of this to local food shelters. So I'm going to use Central and South Texas because that's what this report was about, right? So obviously there's variables when you go other places. They stopped doing it because nobody would take that meat.
So I heard that it's because the meat's really crappy.
It is not the best meat.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Now,
It's like real tough or something.
So hold on.
It's
So,
not very good.
yeah,
Yeah.
so let's flip it this way. Nutritionally, it's great.
Uh-huh.
Okay, nutritionally, it's great. To eat it, it is not the most pleasurable meat to eat in the world.
Yeah.
Mm.
But if you're starving and you're getting
Right.
free food from a shelter, food bank, whatever you call it, how are you going to turn away quality meat?
But I think that goes to like, are people really starving here? I mean,
Well, that's
I don't
kinda why I
think there's
brought
anybody
that up.
really starving in America. Like, there's people who are poor and homeless for a lot, and it's a whole nother story because I think a lot of our homeless people are. There's mental illness involved in that.
Yeah, that's a
Because most people in America, you may not make the best living, but you can make money and have a home, freaking have a TV and have food in your fridge,
Right.
even in the poorest conditions
Right.
for most people.
most, yeah.
If I think, but take that aside, I think that goes to our starving people aren't really starving. Like
Right.
there's, because you're right. If you're really starving, you'll eat something raw. You don't care.
Right.
You have to eat. Your body has to have that, sustenance.
Yeah, I don't know. So if you're like literally you're actually starving, and whoever it is like, here is clean processed meat.
No, yeah.
Are you gonna turn it away?
No. I wouldn't turn it away anyways.
I figure worst case scenario.
Yeah, protein.
I'll go get the can out. I'll be like, hey, I need 99 cents for some ketchup,
Right?
and
That's
I
right,
will
yeah.
douse
Put some
that
salt
bitch.
on that son of a
That's
bitch.
what I'm like, I'm like,
Well, like people who are starving will eat anything. Like like if you look at the what was those in Peru, that plane crash like in the 70s,
yeah.
where they started eating each other because
Yeah.
they had to survive.
yeah, that was nasty.
You'll eat.
You'll figure it
have to
out.
eat.
Yeah.
You'll be like, well, death or
If it's
Joe.
available, right.
I'll eat Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I got no
Right.
ties to Joe.
He's free
You know
fried.
what I mean?
he's
Joe's
good.
dead.
Yeah,
He's moved on to a better place. It's okay.
he's gone. You check him for disease. We're good, man.
Yeah,
Leave
shit.
him
At
out.
that point, you probably didn't want to
Yeah,
know.
you
don't care.
Give
care
me,
about
give me,
that
give me
anymore.
to the bottom of the mountain. I'm good.
I'm like, oh.
Actually, my friend just summited Mount Rainier
Oh yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
up in Washington. He said it was horrible. So he's like 50. He trains. He's like in ridiculous shape.
Yeah.
Like ridiculous shape. And he'd been training for this trip to Mount Rainier for like 3 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Like just backpacks on, 50-pound packs,
Hiking
hopping
up and down,
stairs,
yeah.
hiking everywhere. And so he went to Mount Rainier this last month, and he just got back. I just saw him yesterday, and he said it was the worst experience. He said it was horrible. So all you do is first when you get to base camp,
Yeah.
and you try to sleep there, which is impossible because
Yeah.
it's crowded. Because there's like 30 people on your trip,
Oh man. Yeah.
so you're all bundled up in one little cabin, like side to side, like sardines.
Yeah.
He says of course it's freezing at base camp. It's already up there. So every time you got to get up and go, you're hydrating, right? Because for the trip.
Constantly,
So you're to go to the bathroom. You have to go to the bathroom like 4 or 5 times a night. But to go outside, you got to gear everything back on. Go outside, use the restroom, then come back and then take everything off. Hop into your sleeping bag. He had to do that like 4 times. I didn't even sleep.
Yeah.
Then they're going up, and he says, "He's like, you're roped in like on a team of 4, and there's like sheer cliffs like as you're climbing up. And this is actually if there's like any kind of decent walking path, you're not hooked in. You're just hooked into each other. He's like, so if one goes,
Yeah.
you're
Everyone
all
knows.
toast.
Yeah.
So he's stressed out, and he's like, the guy behind him's like, dude, I'm scared to death. And he's
Yeah.
like, bro, so am I. You know? So stop. Let's just get through this. He says, so they get up there, and then as they're coming down, there's no stopping. Like once you come up, once you start down, like I've never done mountain climbing, so I'm like,
Yeah.
he rid this from me ever wanting to try this. He's coming down. He says, there's no stopping. You stop at base camp for a second just to collect your rest of your gear.
Yeah, and
And
then
you
you're
keep
gone.
going.
Yeah.
He said his legs, and for him to tell me this, and he's in phenomenal shape. So he didn't think he could pick up his legs anymore.
Yeah.
He didn't have a choice.
I've heard because you've done some mountains, right?
Yeah.
This is,
Oh,
this
okay,
is
so
what I've
you
heard.
know.
I dabble. Yeah.
Holy
You know,
crap, no way.
I've done stuff like this, but never these type of expeditions, right? So I always hear everybody tells me that if you're gonna do it, they're like, screw learning to walk uphill, screw all this kind of stuff, start going downhill. He was like, go to the top of a 20-story building and start going down steps. Like just go down.
That's
go
the
to
way.
park cars, Go down, go down, go down, go down. So like the worst pain you'll ever have in your life is the end of it. From
That's
going
what he
down.
said. He
Yeah,
said it was
because as you're coming down, you're hitting that impact from catching that from each step. It's just this like driving impact on your feet, and it just sucks.
So you've done some mountain climbing?
Yeah, so we did. One of the most notable ones was I was over in Wyoming in Wind River Valley. and we hiked into Cirque of the Towers. It was
Wait, can you say that fast 5 times? No,
I
okay,
can
sorry.
barely say it now. It was a 2-day hike in, and it was just the worst. And I'm sitting there, and I was there for climbing, and I had all steel gear. And my buddy of mine, who was who was climbing with me, just went and upgraded all of his gear to aluminum. So his pack was probably 50 pounds lighter than mine.
Oh shit!
And I'm just hiking up this thing, thinking, I don't want to be here. I want to go home. I want a cheeseburger. Because you're sitting there, and all you have is jerky and all this extra stuff. But the whole bit with being tied together, one trick you can find is to knot that rope. Well, I guess if there's ice around or if there's snow, knot the rope, and it'll dig into the snow once you fall. If you fall, so if you were to fall into like a crevice or if you're falling off the side,
It'll grab something.
yeah, exactly. And then the other thing is for everybody to hit the deck. As soon as just get your body as low to the ground as possible, keep that low center of gravity, so when that other person falls, he's just tied on and hoping for the best.
So crazy. So he told me this. This is so they have guides.
Yeah.
That's all they do, right? He said they had a girl, female guide.
Mm-hmm.
Like she would just truck it through like it's nothing. She had summited 68 times.
Yeah.
That's her job.
Yeah.
I'm like, how the hell?
That's crazy.
Well, you sit there and you see the Sherpas over in the Himalayas.
Oh my God!
And
See, that's a whole. That's
it.
what Everest is. What 29th? Because so Rainier is like 14 something.
Yeah.
14.5, I think. So what's Everest like? 29,000 feet, 28,000 feet,
is,
something like that.
20,
So he did 14. So it was murder. Now, can you imagine that? No.
Everest?
Well, I mean, just for Everest, you have to spend a week or two at base camp just to acclimate.
Well, base camp. This is what he was telling me. He says base camp's like at 12 or 14,000 feet or something like that.
It's just over 10,000.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's fuck
incredible.
that. No,
That's insane.
not doing that.
If you get interested,
Nope.
I'm saying it's a good experience just to go out there and try it.
I'm just saying like this.
I like hiking.
We
like
have these
nice
little devices
things.
that like you can sit in, and they have a thing that goes.
Yeah,
and,
little
and it makes you
helicopters.
go up, and there's no stepping involved.
I'm with
goes,
you.
And then worst case scenario, you can just like dangle a rope and go wee, and then you're on the ground.
Which is true, yeah.
And I've only stepped into this amazing apparatus invention that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You're
amazing.
smart.
I like that.
People do that for fun.
Fun.
Yeah.
See, you talk about psychological
It's
problems.
interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like,
Well, we all do weird shit
Yeah, I
for
was about
fun.
to say, let's not get into that.
We all do
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
shit. I wrestle with men and
But-
choke each other for fun. So
But so one of the training things, and you're thinking about that when going up and down stairs, is to go up and down parking lots.
Yeah.
So just slap, first start off with whatever weight you're carrying up as you're going up, and then just keep adding weight. So that bag, when you get up there, is just going to feel so much lighter.
Yeah.
Just hike up and down parking lots. That's what we used to do. Yeah, for that trip, that's...
talking about like parking garages
Yeah.
where they go up.
Yeah,
That makes
yeah.
sense because that slope.
Yeah, you get that slope.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can find ones with like higher slopes, lower slopes.
Shoot, a town center, they got that.
Oh man, yeah.
That
Would've got
monster.
Did that downtown.
Yeah. You
So
do.
just going 20 story.
Yeah,
parking
that's a
garage.
jump.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. And then just take cardboard up or a sled, and you can get down real quick. It's easy.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, but he cured me of ever wanting to do that. I was like, man, because I like to go hiking.
Yeah.
I want to go out to Washington. There's so much great hiking out there, and it's real beautiful. But the actual climbing thing,
Yeah.
no, that's not in my like. I don't even like doing that rock wall thing. Like, I get up, I'm like, that's kind of high, and I got that freaking thing attached to me.
I'm happy to up. I'm happy as all get out. I will do up. I'm good up. Once I get there, I'm done, dude. Just drop me a line. Get me out of this thing. Like I gotta go down. Like no,
That's
no.
worse.
Yeah, I'm like I'm done, dude. I'm already here. What down? No, it's all summit. Hey, did you summit? Yes, I summit. Done. Now, get me out.
I
of here.
summit. Yeah, just pick me up.
Right?
Just
Like,
pick me up.
Can't deal with that, dude. It's just like
Just rescue me. You have to
yeah,
rescue.
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
oh, my leg. Helicopter.
I hurt. I pulled a muscle. I pulled my hamstring. CP3.
Yeah.
CP. Okay, dude. So quick second on the games, right? I am so massively convinced, and I have been for decades. It is so friggin' rigged. It's ridiculous. And so I'm sitting there before the game last night, right? Clearly, Boston fans, so Celtics fans. Celtics, if you take it at face value, did something really special. 2 starters, 2
Yes.
top 10 NBA players out, and they still made it to Game 7 of the
No, I
Eastern
was
Conference
impressed.
Finals.
I was super impressed. I did
Yeah.
not think that was going to go that way.
Shocked that they did it. Great, blah, 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 kind of thing. So I'm talking to Steph before the game, and I'm like this. Okay, well, Boston was 2.5-point favorites, according to Vegas, which in basketball is nothing. That's just
Yeah,
even.
that's
That's a
basically
pick 'em,
it.
right? I mean, 2 points. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, which storyline is better? One more time of LeBron versus the Warriors, right? Or are we going to sprinkle 2 new teams in? Because LeBron versus Houston makes no sense. And taking the 4 teams that are there, that it's not. I mean, sure, it could be good basketball, but it's not really. There's no story to that, right? So LeBron versus the Warriors, another big story, right? If you take Boston versus Houston, big story, because then Houston is one of the top spots for LeBron to go to potential next year. So the team that he gets beat by Boston again, because the last time he got beat in the finals, conference finals, was by Boston, 8 years ago, or whatever it was, and because it's 8th one, and then they're going to go battle Houston, and Houston wins, but then you get to join, or Boston wins, and he's the piece that gives Houston the titles.
Right.
You can build a story that way.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out before, and I'm like, what's the story? And so my answer was, I don't know the market value of LeBron in the finals as compared to Boston in the finals. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The viewership, the Nelson ratings and advertising dollars and all that kind of stuff.
But everybody wants to
think-
see LeBron, though.
That's what I'm saying. I think everybody wants to
Everybody
see LeBron.
wants to
So
see LeBron.
LeBron's there. It's his 8th time to make it.
God, that's incredible.
The whole, which is crazy. And you can, all the arguments either way. It doesn't matter. A player has never made it 8 consecutive times.
No.
Yeah.
Bench players, and I don't care what, so it's a record.
Yeah,
How you
that's
slice it.
incredible.
So I'm telling you, Golden State will win tonight.
So, I don't know. Like, I've watched, like, if you look at I hate being this guy. Like, the refs are, I feel like most of the reffing, I think they wash out the calls. I don't know. I think that certain players get given
Always.
more leeway, obviously. And I think that's
biased.
and I think that's across most sports.
Yeah.
Honestly, like even in baseball with pitching,
But that's cheating.
batting. Well, it's promoting your product, right? You don't want your worst your worst players in the finals.
This is true,
You want
yeah.
your most popular players that are going to drive the most ratings,
Yeah.
Right.
right? So, is it cheating or is it
Well, cheating may not be the right word. It's just, it is not, you're not watching a legit skill versus skill game. You're
I think
watching a
you are.
manipulation. to
You're
better a
watching
business.
slight manipulation.
Right.
It's subtle. Sometimes it's not so
Sometimes
subtle.
it's bad.
Like that last
I was
game
about
with the
to
gold.
say.
Well, not that last game. There's been, I think it's Golden State and Houston. There's been some calls. I'm like,
Yeah.
really?
When I'm watching in pick 'em, last night just because it was fresh.
Yeah.
There was, Tatum for Boston. The first time in the rookie, all that kind of stuff, and LeBron was his hero. 2 times he went up for a dunk against LeBron. The first one, LeBron comes in, their bodies slam each other. There's a smack, the whole shebang, right? And but no foul.
Yeah.
So LeBron gets the block. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm like, but LeBron just one play prior to that had a little bit of a body bump
Beep.
by someone, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, wrong, right? And then the next one, he slams it right over nails LeBron and gets the dunk, right?
Yeah.
So then that's on all the highlight reels and everything of this nature. But it was the same thing, and there's still no foul.
Yeah.
But LeBron got a foul and got to the free throw line on a call against Smart. The next play or one later, where when they showed the replay, that was about as close as Smart got to LeBron.
Yeah.
Zero
No, that's
contact.
you.
Zero
And you see
contact.
that a lot. Like, they're definitely the top players are protected.
Right.
No
Yeah.
question. You'll
So I'm
never
like-
if they get called for anything, they always look like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
You're supposed to call me.
Yeah.
Right. Or you'll see the distribution of fouls.
Yes.
Where, say LeBron commits a foul, but say he's at 3.
Yeah.
So suddenly the guy next to him gets the foul.
Yeah.
Right. And no one argues with that because it's just the way it is. You don't hear a lot of argument about that.
Yeah.
I don't ever see anybody really freaking out
And
about that, but it happens all the time.
But that's what I'm saying. Is I'm like, you take it like this. At a professional level, there is always some level of consistency. people have their ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
Teams can gel and kind of go down, and there are some ebbs and flows. But generally speaking, at that level, you have a pretty consistent level of output and performance. I think that's safe to say as a professional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Barring injury, barring something, assuming there's health and assuming all these other things. So if you're healthy and you're in the playoffs and you're deep in the playoffs, you have to expect some level of consistency.
Right.
So how is it that a team can lose by 41 and then win by 30?
I don't know.
Right? That's not.
I mean, it's night to night. I mean, there's probably like a ton of factors.
And take that last Golden State game. They were down. Golden State was down by 17, and then they wound up going up. They won by 29, but they were up by 31.
Yeah. But that whole series has kind of been that way, except for like 2 games.
38-point swing in 2 quarters.
No, that's huge. Although the only thing I will say is that with Golden State, you have like Curry and whatever, they just can really.
But then you add the other part and you say, Houston scored 9 points in a quarter. They scored 25 points in the entire half.
I didn't get to see the second half of that game because,
but still, I mean, it wasn't
stuff.
like.
But yeah, we'll see tonight. We'll see what happens tonight. I don't know if CP3's playing.
I'm not sure.
I hope he's playing. But
and this isn't. None of this is like pro Houston, pro Gold State, pro anybody.
I'm pro
It's
Houston,
just simply. I'm saying for the sake of the game.
I wish it was even.
It's frustrating for me to watch these games.
I wish it was more even. Yeah. I wish it was like when we were in junior high and like if you took that third step, beep, it was automatic travel. I wish they kept them pure. Because I think the game would just be just as good, and the top players would still be the top players.
They'll adjust.
Yeah, they would adjust.
Exactly.
They'll adjust.
But they give too much. They give too much leeway. But you see that in all sports because I think it's just going to happen. You have so much money on the line for these organizations and for the NBA in general that they want to make sure they're going to maximize their profits. So yeah, if I'm 100% convinced that refs are told, you let the star players get a little extra. We want to make sure they stay in the game.
Yeah, exactly. And if we're talking from a financial standpoint, I mean, it's better for the game.
Yeah, well, it's better for the companies.
So then, should they allow betting?
Well, they are. They're about to start allowing betting.
No, but I'm saying
I think they should.
So my deal is.
I wonder how that's going to change.
Isn't that
things.
like insider trading on the stock market?
What with betting?
That'd be up next.
If you're saying, hey, I'm building.
Oh, so you're talking about like
hey, ref, go ahead and give.
Well,
this
they've
guy
already
some
had
calls.
this, right?
Yeah.
With Tim Donahue? What was the guy? Remember the NBA ref?
Donahue.
They got busted shaving or affecting games for who was he doing that for? Like the mom or somebody? I don't know.
I don't remember.
He was doing it for
this
somebody.
Was, 7-8 years ago we got busted?
Maybe a little. It's probably we're old, man. See, like for us, that's the old. That's being old again. You think 7-8 years ago, but it was probably like 15 years ago. Because I do this all the time. Where I'm like, well, it was just like 2-3 years ago, right? And you're like, no, it was 10.
Yeah.
And you go 10.
Well, I'm thinking this is.
Yeah, that's just not possible.
Steph and I, so we've been together a little over 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's while we were together. So that's my.
Within the 10 years.
Yeah.
I remember. It just seems like.
I don't think it can be more than
you
10.
Frame of reference.
That's what. Yes, I'm cheating. That's my insider.
Yeah.
You can remember that face and then remember that game, and you're like, oh.
But is that but you think that's insider trading?
I don't think it's insider trading. I think what it is that I think it'll balance itself out again, because as long as the refs are consistent with the way they do it now, then you're. But like point spreads now, I mean, we still see the point spreads in Vegas, and certain places are allowed to bet. So the point spreads are based on, I guess, the initial whoever's setting the point spread, and then the bets coming in, right? I mean, I'm not a bettor, so I don't know.
Yeah, they don't know the answer to your question, in case you're wondering. But they do. In theory, the opening line is the pure line of the game.
Yeah.
And then everything from that point, how it moves, is only based on
bets coming in, right?
Who bets on who.
Right.
Yeah.
And which makes sense because they're leveraging and things of that nature. So, but the opening line is effectively what you're betting on.
Yeah.
Right.
In the grand scheme of things, that's what Vegas.
So I don't think that'll change. I don't think it's insider trading, but it will be interesting to see if it affects the game, right? Like now that money's involved, so there's going to be other interests that are going to start being involved.
More money's involved now.
But exactly, yeah. So you're going to get, I mean, just from betting, you're going to get more corruption.
That's
yeah.
my belief.
You're going to put more money into it, and more people are going
to open betting. It's going to be interesting. But there's always been betting, right?
Yeah.
But
even under the table betting, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But now it's going to be out in the open. And I think you're talking about, it's going to be interesting to see like all these industries pop up from the legalized betting.
True.
Oh, it's gonna be
So
insane,
yeah,
man.
you're right. Like it's really gonna affect. That's gonna be influence on the owners and commissioners. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
but I
interesting.
can imagine it's either going to go, becomes really, really bad, or people stand up and say, I don't like this. I want more consistency in my teams, and then it kind of levels out. And
It
becomes
may
better.
cause a correction, man.
I kind of I agree with that.
I
I think
that's
it could
possible.
because now you're talking about everybody in general having more influence
Yeah, exactly.
on what's happening.
More and more people are going to be pumping money into it, so
Yeah.
have a population vote now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna want more of a pure product potentially. I think it's gonna swing one way or the
potentially is
other.
where
I think
we're at.
everybody's always wanted more of a pure product, but now there's going to be money. Anytime money's involved, or anytime anybody has influence with money, it seems like that's when
Well,
change
here's
can
the
happen.
fascinating part. Why I think I agree with what Jordan's saying is when there's money involved and it's legal and national.
Yeah.
Right? Across the country, everybody can put money into it, just like
Right.
the stock market. Then there becomes a liability. So now the NFL, the NBA, NHL, so on. Now there's a liability because now I'm betting on what's supposed to be a pure product.
Right.
And now you're not making consistent calls and there's video evidence. You're doing this thing and there's video evidence. And all of these kind of nerd statisticians are going to
they'll
be tracking
find it.
that.
They'll
And you're going to be
find it.
exposed. Oh, well, every time this ref is doing it, here's what happens.
Yeah.
And here's all the video evidence.
Well, it's going to, you
Right.
bring up a really good point.
Best case scenario.
So liability is going to go through the roof potentially on this stuff.
Yeah, but that is best case scenario is
Yeah.
that because ideally that's how it works, right? But then you have the other way of then you just create this union of refs that does it and they switch out each time but they all have the
Yeah.
same goal.
There's
That would be like a grand conspiracy, though. I wonder how that would work. But I think there's a really good point. I think I think it's inevitable.
Yeah.
You're going to see more corruption in the refs and in the players
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
The players too. Anytime there's a place that money can be made and people can cheat the system, people are going to try. And it doesn't matter how much
exactly.
money people have; they still want it more.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to find a way to try to cheat the system. It's going to happen, and we're going to catch it.
Exactly.
It's going to be.
well.
It's going to be messy.
I mean,
man.
We're gonna try
eventually-
our very hardest to catch it.
Well, what I mean is, somebody's going to get caught.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
somebody always gets
Exactly.
caught. So, and it's going to be real interesting to see how that works.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Okay,
kinda
legal
exciting.
stuff. Both you guys. So we'll get the young and old thing on this. I'm curious. So I heard this is a illegal drugs situation here in America. Okay. So this was. I'm going to paraphrase a comment that I heard
Okay.
yesterday, day before on some outlet. I heard it right, so I wasn't watching it. It was interesting to them, to the people talking, that our prohibition against illegal drugs, illegal in quotations, is feeding one of the most violent criminal aspects the globe has ever seen.
You're talking about with narco trafficking?
Yeah. We'll just say the cartels, for example. We'll just use them. But there's other families and there's opium, through Asia. And
Right,
things like
right.
that. So we're just going to use the cartels because they're easy and everybody recognizes that name. So
Right.
it's a
But yeah,
tag.
you're right.
But there's more
It's
than
worldwide.
that. So it's our prohibition against cocaine specifically, right? And LSD. We'll use those two. You could tag marijuana in there, but that's becoming legal. So we'll say those two are feeding sex trafficking, the drug trafficking, the murder rates, the crime rates, and all. Like you're empowering these what we would typically deem as evil groups, and we know we're doing it. Why not legalize it
So
and help control it from?
this is my take.
Yeah.
You kind of know my take. I think we need to do an analysis on health risk benefits to population versus health risk benefits to legalizing it, versus the criminal aspect of it, right? How much it's feeding into it. So if you have we'll take cocaine, right? So cocaine we know is highly addictive.
Yep.
There's no question, right? It's highly addictive, and it can have very adverse effects on people who start using. Not everybody, like anything, not everybody's going to get addicted, but there's high percentages of people that get addicted. Anytime those chemicals start getting replaced in your brain with that hit, your brain stops. Like this, I'm not a scientist, but this is my basic understanding. Your brain stops producing that chemical because it's receiving it from an outside source.
Exactly.
So now you have to replace that because it's something that your body needs.
Right.
Right. So things like that, I think I don't know if how much legalization we should allow. I don't know at what level. I do agree that it's feeding it, but I think so. You take away cocaine, sex trafficking doesn't go away.
No. It's just
Right.
it's
Not completely,
enabling
yeah.
an aspect.
I don't think it ever goes away. Like sex
No.
trafficking has always
No, yeah.
existed
Oh,
since there's been any type of
long before
since
drugs.
cavemen could go around and bop a girl on the head and drag her to his
Yeah.
cave
Exactly.
and then give it to his buddy after he was done. Sex trafficking has existed, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
human basic biology.
Yeah.
But I agree that it feeds into the monster.
Mm-hmm.
But at what we got to find the right level to where what's acceptable to legalize and what's acceptable to what, that's just an evil in the world that we have to fight, and there's a cost that has to be paid, and they're going evil's going to exist.
Yeah, absolutely.
right.
It's not
Yeah.
a cure to make evil go away.
Right.
It's just it was an interesting conversation in the sense that they were just like, you know what, we are knowingly, by having a prohibition or making these things illegal, we're knowingly funding that.
We are. Is there any
Knowingly
countries
allowing
where
the funding.
cocaine is legalized? I know some countries in Europe,
There's some in Europe.
maybe
that's-
Sweden,
and
Sweden,
it's
right?
to
Netherlands?
use it. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what
who
they
I'll-
legalize.
I'll get nailed, but there are
Yeah.
several countries and then even cities.
Or
and
they'll
different things.
set up safe zones,
Yes,
Yeah.
right, where people
Yeah,
can use
yeah.
whatever they want, basically,
and you can
in
go
this little
in,
zone.
Yeah, and they will monitor you, and you will have a
Try to keep it safe.
monitored trip.
But I don't know what that allows. Like, so if you can you?
So much. Well, they do.
How do you like? If is it illegal outside the zone, and so you
It's
drive in,
illegal.
and once you're in there, it's okay that you have it. I mean, it's
No, because you buy it from the clinic. So
Yeah.
it's all.
So you
it's
buy the drugs
effectively
from the clinic?
medicinal. I'll just call it medicinal,
Uh-huh.
right? So it's controlled in the sense of what you're getting and the purity of it and all these things because it's.
How does that?
administered
How
by
has
a
that worked
medical
out for those
facility.
countries? I guess they're still doing it.
On paper, at surface level, it's an amazing deal because crime rates are down, people
Mm-hmm.
are controlled, they're satisfying these things. If somebody has the addictive personalities and addictions and things like that, they have ways. There's other things they can give them to help counter that.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's and we have some of those drugs here, but some are legal and some aren't. And
Didn't Baltimore try something like this, or was that just this episode from The Wire? I swear to God, I think Baltimore tried something like this for a minute, and it got like for a minute they did it, and then like I guess it got out
I'll
and
say
it
this,
got shut down.
I think it was. I think it was
Or-
proposed.
Or it could have just been an episode of The Wire.
No, I
think they did that.
I think it's been proposed at several
Yeah.
places here. I know recently in California they're trying to do a bunch of these things.
Yeah.
To where it's
California.
monitored and controlled and I'm like I mean clearly I'm against illegal drugs. I mean just
Yeah.
follow the fucking law, and if you don't like it, there's ways to combat
Right.
it, right? So, but my whole deal is I'm like, you know what? It seems to be smart to me to say people are going to continue to use these little illegal drugs.
Right.
That's not going anywhere. So
Right.
that's
Yo,
not going
100%.
anywhere. So on the drug side of it is why not set up government sponsored, local sponsored, I don't care how you monitor it and deal it. It's illegal to carry out in general public.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can
Yeah.
go to all of these facilities that are going to have to go through licensing and regulations and all these other deals, and you can have your drugs and have your safe trips and do all this kind of stuff that you're going to do, right?
Well, you're talking.
In a controlled
Drugs are
environment.
so like drugs are so varied. So, and you're also talking about. So let's take sex trafficking.
Yeah.
Like, why not just legalize prostitution? Would that reduce sex trafficking? Would that? I mean,
Vegas is the only place
well, not Vegas. I think it's outside of Vegas. I think it's in.
that is legal.
Yeah, I think it's the state. Maybe it's the state. So I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
It's outside of. I know in Vegas it's not. It's not
Yeah.
legal in Vegas. I'm almost 100% sure. Just from my, not that I've looked into it, but like just from my knowledge of it, it's illegal in Vegas. But I think outside in the county areas or something, it's legalized. That's why the Bunny Ranch is someplace out.
okay.
Or not the Bunny. Is it called the Bunny Ranch?
don't
I'm
know.
confusing
I know what you're talking about,
LaGrange.
but- Probably so, yeah.
Okay, anyway,
Yeah.
so the Bunny.
So my
I
deal
sound like
is,
I know too much about
do we
this.
know anything on stats on that?
I don't know. I know in Germany, when I lived in Germany, prostitution was legalized.
Yeah.
Or it was legal. I don't know. I don't know the effect on the community. I don't know the effect on trafficking.
Most of it, and correct
I
me
don't
if I'm
know.
wrong, I think most of the sex trafficking cases that I hear about and busts and rings and all of that kind of stuff, it's really, it's children for all intents and purposes.
No, it's everybody. Like you look at all these massage parlors around Houston,
Yeah.
are Asian girls that have been brought in, and not children. Like these.
Well, but it
of
starts
age.
as they're, whatever, 14, 15, 16 years old.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of children involved.
Yeah.
But even from Mexico, there's lots of sex trafficking from girls from South America being brought up in here. These
And
little,
adults still.
Well, they get so you go to these little hole in the wall, not taqueria, some taquerias, but like they'll be like little Spanish clubs. Like
Mm-hmm.
you know, you'll see them. We got them all over here. This
Yeah.
side of town. They'll have sex trafficking. You have girls that have been brought over that are paying off debts or working for narcos or whatever. You know, all the
Yeah.
time. Like in, it's a legit, real bad problem. And there's not enough law enforcement to deal with it.
Yeah.
There's not. Like,
I
there's
don't.
just no way.
This is me. I don't know how you police that. It would take such
Traditional
a massive,
traditional detective work
Right.
and finding the
Yeah,
know
exactly.
finding where the information is where it could be happening and sending people in and getting
And then,
more
but when you do
information
the-
and collecting.
when you bust one, like the legal side of it, the prosecution side of it, has to be a mother.
So, you know, I don't know. I've
'Cause of
never
proof?
been part of busting a child sex ring, so I
Yeah.
wouldn't
The
know
only
how
one-
difficult
I just
it is
know-
to prosecute.
Yeah, I just know like of one or two cases that you kind of
Yeah.
graze over, right? And it's a situation like they get the girl, whatever her age is relevant, and then the girl doesn't talk because they know that if she talks, then her sister and brother and family
Right.
get hurt. So then they wind up having no case.
I don't know if that's the case so much with, say, child sex trafficking from South America,
Okay.
and I could be wrong. I think more of that is you have women that are paying to cross the border, and
paying.
they think they're crossing just to be let to come over here, and then they can go find work and meet up with their other family members, and they're paying the wrong people, and so they get sucked into some town. They're not even sure where they're at,
Yeah.
and they're working in some taqueria or cantina,
Whatever,
whatever you
yeah.
want to call it, some in a hole in the wall.
Damn,
And
dude.
yeah, they're 14, 15, 16 or 17, 18. And they're told if you go to the authorities, they're going to deport you back.
Yeah.
You're going to go to jail. They tell them all these horrible things, and they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't have a knowledge to know
Yeah.
better. And sometimes it's just somebody having enough and saying, "Fuck it, I'm getting out of here. I'm running, and I'm going to find somebody for them to get out." But it happens all the time.
Welcome to the real world, huh?
Yeah.
Crap.
I've-
No, I know. I'm just.
Yeah. it's a dark,
Ouch, man.
scary place. Always, for me, so I've been a cop for like 20 plus years now, and I've always thought and I'm used to working at night and weird hours and stuff, and so other cops, we have these conversations like we're walking around and we're doing stuff. We say we're at night and I'm running around doing stuff,
Yeah.
and then in the daytime I'm in the same area and people all going about their days like it's no big deal. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you guys have no idea the stuff that's like right under the surface of where you're walking at around you.
It's a
Like, y'all
2-inch
have
door away from you.
No
But
way.
yeah, exactly. But that's the beauty of it is because of our police enforcement.
But
we get to
people-
live that way.
Yeah, but people are victims all the time,
Yeah,
and it's
of
like I think people are ignorant of what's around them. Like they're just, you see them do things that set themselves up to be taken advantage of or whatever, and you're like, guys, they're all around you. There's all these little predators are around you
That's
looking
what-
to take advantage
That's what
of you.
those predators are hedging their bets on.
Oof. Well, they're winning. Like a lot of times they're winning because there's so many people who just don't protect themselves,
Yeah, exactly.
and it drives me nuts.
And so for the drug thing, I've been watching the hostels or the facilities in which they'll dose the drugs, so they'll give you whatever dose that you need.
Yeah.
So they'll regulate that. They'll regulate, how long you can do it, and this, that, and the other. And they'll keep you there for as long as you need. Make sure that you're safe, comfortable. For the drug part of it, I think marijuana's fine. There are certain other drugs out there that are fine, to be legalized and regulated. But then there are some that just, shouldn't
Yeah,
exist.
there's some that are evil, but this is so. I'm going to parallel it, and people are they always get shit for this. Scientifically, it's proven sugar is more addicting than cocaine.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
So,
Yeah.
so when you take it, cocaine has a very visual and instant, measurable or identifiable trip or hazard to the human body, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sugar isn't so obvious, but is it really worse than cocaine?
It's a slower
diabetes,
deterioration of someone's body.
heart conditions, obesity, things it does to the brain, things it does to the gut biome, all these things that we know now that are measurable, that if your gut biome gets fucked up, you can be psychotic. And the only thing is wrong is you've got the wrong nutrients going through and your gut biome's messed up. There's no other chemical wrong
That's
with you.
crazy.
And we know this scientifically. So it's not like I'm just pulling this shit
Right.
out of the air. So there's plenty of studies, there's plenty of proof on it. So we're kind of like, this is me. I'm like, well, what's worse? Refined carbohydrates killing you over 10 years, just for story purposes, or this cocaine that could potentially kill you over 2 years?
Right.
Both gonna kill you.
Yeah. I don't know.
So that's like where I'm starting to like our knowledge base is expanding so much.
Yeah.
Sugar can more easily be counteracted, right? Whereas Coke is like
You can stop it, but
Yeah.
how many obese people are stopping their refined carbohydrate intake?
well,
Look at
No,
the food.
I
Look
have
at the
a friend
food
of mine
pyramid.
struggling, and
It's
we were
true,
talking
yeah.
about the other day. He's struggling with that,
Yeah.
and he tries, fails all the time, and it's because that food addiction is real. Like that sugar hit,
Yeah.
that carbohydrate, those things that's a real need. Like if someone's not used to, you have to wean yourself off of that,
Yeah,
yeah,
and no
exactly.
doubt. And if you're not, like,
and you'll have withdrawals.
yeah,
Oh,
They're
yeah.
just slower. They're not as intense, but that measurably when you take them all and you group them together, they're very similar.
So let's prohibition sugar then.
yeah, that'll never happen.
Yeah. Just
Way
put
too
it
big
all
of
on
an,
the same
you know.
pedestal.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why, like,
Right.
you know, and I'm not all trying to be conspiracy theory and all that other kind of shit, but you have so many people lobbying against tobacco and so much
Yeah.
stuff against alcohol and so much stuff against
I
this.
just think so much
And
of that
I'm
is
like-
political. I always hate that 'cause I
Yeah.
feel like there's so much bullshit politics involved in some
Yes.
of that stuff. You
Yes.
know, like
Yes.
so if you want to
Yeah.
talk about what's bad for you, let's talk about alcohol. Like alcohol's terrible for you,
Yeah.
right? Like it just destroys you, and you
Yeah.
destroys you in a night. You know,
Yeah.
you can
Exactly.
like if I have a few glasses of whiskey the next day, I'm like correct.
Be here.
I'm just like, man, I have
Yeah.
nothing. But so alcohol is terrible for you, right? But we give people the ability to, hey, you want to drink and crush your body? That's your freaking choice.
Yeah.
So I guess, you know, it depends on the level.
Yeah.
We allow it with
Exactly,
alcohol, and
yeah.
alcohol's got a lot of, you know,
Yeah.
there's reverberations throughout society with people abusing alcohol, like everywhere,
Yeah.
especially here between car accidents and healthcare costs and name it,
It
right?
goes on
Yeah,
and on.
yeah,
Right.
It goes
So
on
I
and
think
on.
those are the same problems you would have with cocaine. I think, of course, there's it'd be more healthcare probably involved with cocaine. People being,
Yeah.
you know, the
Yeah.
dire consequences from it. We've already got a serious problem with opioid addiction, with people
Yeah.
abusing pills and
Yeah.
prescription medication. I can tell on the street that's like probably the number one thing we come across is people
think-
having
Yeah.
prescription
Like
medication that doesn't belong
pharmaceuticals,
to them
yeah.
because they're using it, they buy from somebody, whatever. And that's just on this, like, that's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's-
that's not including the people who get it prescribed and then abuse it then.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not even including that.
Right.
You're right. So opioid addiction is probably a way worse problem for us than anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
You know,
not
and-
looking
and
at the
that- yeah,
numbers.
I would
It
have
just
to agree with
it
that.
just
Yeah.
crossed some barrier to be the number 2 in something, and it'll come to me in a second. I saw that on the news blip. I think Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
Opioid addiction, specifically opioid addiction, was crossed some barrier as far as major health considerations in the U.S.
Oh, we're
It was
popping. We're
behind-
just
it was only behind obesity.
they're just giving pills
Yeah,
out
I
like
know what it was,
crazy.
yeah.
Like you hurt, you're just, like I've been
Yeah.
hurt, and I'll get you some Vicodin or whatever. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
calm down.
I'm not that hurt.
I'll
Yeah,
I'll take
relax.
some Aleve. I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Right? Some extra
yeah.
strength Tylenol. I'm good.
Like we got
You
it.
know?
Yeah.
But yeah, they hand that stuff out like candy,
Yeah.
which just leaves it out there for everybody to use and abuse and steal and all these
Yeah,
little.
and it becomes really easy to get a hold of it. You can go to some doctor, and doctors go, "Oh yeah, here, let me just write this prescription."
Yeah, when you have like the doctor shopping. I know in Florida it's
Yeah,
supposed to be
that's-
horrible. Like they have all these pain clinics set up. We can just go from one to the next and just get a pile of,
Exactly.
Crap.
Yeah.
you know, like you
That's-
get like you're going to candy stores and like I
Insane.
want.
But,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's true, you know, and
that kind of goes back to what should be legal. Like, should we be legal? Should weed be legalized? Is that a counter to a lot of these opioid a lot of these pills?
they think so, but with it not being legal enough, it's hard to get.
Well, they're
proper
starting to do more
studies
studies,
and-
right? Like
Yeah.
more studies are coming out,
Yeah.
and they seem to be showing that maybe it's an answer to a lot of these pills. So
Yeah.
then you go back to like you're talking about what people are lobbying. So then you got the prescription pill industry, whatever you want to call it, is lobbying hard against
Pharma.
legalizing. Yeah, pharmaceuticals are lobbying hard against legalizing weed. It's probably until they can figure out a way to co-opt it and make
Right,
money from it,
right.
because they don't want that challenge against their little corner of the market, which they have on lockdown with these doctors, right? So I don't know. It looks like there's probably answers to a lot of these things that we can do, but we're so
What you got to do is this: they just reclassified CBD oil as a controlled substance
Oh,
with no
yeah.
THC in
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
zero
yeah, yeah.
THC in it.
When
CBD oil.
When did this
was-
happen?
I'm going to say 3 weeks ago,
Are you serious?
but recently. and the exact chronology I could be
Who
screwed up.
classified it? The
Federal government.
Yeah.
CBD oil.
So who's fighting against that? Because I know of several people who, well, I mean, who fought to make it illegal.
Yeah.
Because I know several people who need it, that they use it. My
Oh, yeah,
brother's
exactly.
one that has used it. That's very helpful for
Do
him.
it this way, for $100 a month, or even a 2-month supply of quality CBD oil, probably a 2-month supply for about $100, give or take a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
that's about right.
Takes the place of probably not to that person, but on the back end, maybe $1,000 going to Big Farm from the prescriptions and
That's
the kickback
unbelievable.
when
That's
you
exactly
do it.
right. And
But you
so-
follow me on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
You do the math backwards.
Yeah, and so the whole thing is you have that farm lobbyist that's sitting there and just saying, oh no, let's just get rid of this. When CBD we have only seen positive outcomes from.
Yeah.
And so, but that's what it is. It's harder to regulate CBD than it is.
Well, I can
anything
tell
else.
you, so my brother experiences pain on a daily basis with
Yeah.
this situation. And that CBD oil, because he was getting his from Colorado, I have to ask him, is it illegal now? He said it was a lifesaver. It really helps him tremendously, tremendously with his physical pain. That's unbelievable. That's really depressing.
So what's happening now is people are still shipping it and they're still doing it and they're doing that kind of
So
stuff.
it hasn't been like they're saying we're going to make it illegal.
So my understanding of it is it was reclassified, right, as being a controlled substance. I don't know what classification they gave it. That makes sense. Like I didn't read that far into it, but nobody's really enforcing it right now. But when they ship it,
I hate when
they ship it like double wrapped, air peeled, like all the and I'm like, it's tough, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got another one. I mean, because I know you got. Well, you listen to Rogan?
No.
No. Okay. So you listen to Rogan. You know he's always talking about DMT.
Yeah.
It's a substance we produce in our own
Bodies, yeah.
but yet it's a controlled substance.
Well, and that goes back to like looking at different classifications of drugs
Right.
between hallucinogenics.
Well,
Right.
I was about to say.
Well, it's a hallucinogenic. So
Yeah.
what is a hallucinogenic do? Like, what is it chemically addictive? Do you get chemically addicted to hallucinogenics? I don't think you do,
They will
right?
say no.
Like, there's no
It's
studies
n-
that show
it-
you're
it-
chemically addicted to it.
The studies that are out there say it is non-addictive.
So then what's the problem? This is my issue. Like, why are certain things illegal? Why are we making things that have no actual consequence to somebody? Like, we can measure alcohol is physically addictive, damages the body. We have all these consequences, but we allow it to be legal.
Right.
Somebody takes hallucinogenics and sits in their house, and now it depends on. I know there's some really trippy freaking stuff out there where I've seen, like, I don't know if anybody should be taking that.
Yeah. Exactly.
But we'll say DMT or mushrooms or LSD, whatever. Although LSD has probably some effects that could be talked about where it sits in your system, it can come back.
Yeah.
There's those rare cases where you can trip 20 years later, right? But so that could be something to be looked at. But if you have a substance that it's not chemically bad, it's not physically harmful to you, it doesn't cause harm to anybody else, why are you keeping people from choosing to put that in their body?
Well, it's like to take alcohol. Alcohol in itself is not addictive.
Is it?
People get addicted to the patterns of it and the feelings and things of that
Yeah.
nature. So you're not going to necessarily
didn't
have
know that.
alcohol withdrawals when you come off. Now there's some detox issues and weird things like that because you've been drinking so much forever and abusing it for many years and all that kind of stuff. But you can get addicted to the sugar aspects of it.
So you don't get
Absolutely.
chemically addicted to alcohol?
No, you get psychologically.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right,
I
because-
thought there was a chemical issue.
Yeah. So
I didn't
you'll find people who, they'll drink pretty consistently, never get addicted because they don't have that personality.
Right.
Right.
And then some people with the addictive personality, they'll try it once and they're just, oh yeah, this is what
It kind of makes some sense.
There's genetic predispositions that will make you have an addictive personality. So if you're addicted to alcohol and we remove the alcohol, you may get addicted to smoking, which that's controversial.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you remove that, you're going to be addicted to pasta and food and this.
Right.
And you remove that, then you're going to get addicted to guns, or you'll get addicted to driving fast, or you'll get addicted. Like you're just going to keep plug and playing
Right.
the addictive things. And
I didn't know that.
those
That's
situations,
interesting.
Just get addicted to bodybuilding. It's fine.
Hey,
I did, yeah.
I get addicted to strangling people. So.
Hey, I can't talk about my addictions publicly. It'll get me in trouble. Has something to do with bodybuilding and choking people and
Yeah.
things. It's bad. I don't know. It's
Probably
all-
more descriptive.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. It's like, oh wow.
Like
That's funny.
how all that kind of stuff goes.
That's interesting about alcohol. I didn't
man.
realize that.
Yeah.
I always thought it was something chemically. involved. I never really looked into
Well,
it.
it's
I just assumed.
addictive personality issue.
Yeah, so your body gets addicted to the way the chemicals
It's like
affect your body.
Yeah.
steroids. People in the world of bodybuilding, they're not addicted to steroids. They're addicted to the results of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Does that make sense? So it's
Yeah.
like you don't want to give up the steroids because you don't
Then
want to
you
give
just
up
lose
all
your-
of it. Right.
Lose what you're gaining from
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And they're very parallel.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not addicted to the chemical. You're addicted to the side effects.
Yeah,
of the
I mean that
product.
makes sense.
I'm
I mean,
saying
makes
that
sense
all
why some
wrong,
people
but-
can drink and it's no problems, and then other
Yeah.
people
It
can't
has
stop.
people that
Yeah.
are really wasted.
Now, if you take somebody with an addictive personality and you give them a hit of acid, or you give them
They need that feeling all the
cocaine,
time.
or you give them
Exactly.
something, they're gonna grasp it and they're gonna run like hell with it.
Yeah.
They're toast. Yeah.
And I think that's where that whole gateway thing came from. 'Cause, you know,
Gateway
you get-
drug.
Yeah, you jump onto THC, you have that personality, and then, oh, okay, well, this is no longer satisfying my needs, and I have to jump to what's next.
Yeah.
Right? Most people aren't like that. Most people
Yeah.
just, this is good. I can control,
wonder-
maintain, moderate.
I wonder what the percentages of people in America right now who use weed are. I think
It's
it's got
all
to be.
speculatory, but
I
it's
think it's
huge.
got to be high.
It's huge, man.
It's
It
got to
is
be over
huge.
50% at least. Or
I don't
Yeah,
I don't know, but I would.
I don't
think-
know.
It's gonna be a
I know
big
a lot
number.
of people.
Yeah,
you
I was
took
about
adults,
to say,
You
but-
know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, there's a lot of people smoking weed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just wonder what the percentages on that are.
There's a huge percentage. It's got to be. If you go 18 to 80, if you take that demographic, I would.
Well,
I'd
when you
have to
see
say
now,
over
when you
50.
see, like you see studies, or you'll see, I'm sorry, a study, but you'll see a, what do you call it when you vote? Not vote,
Just a
but
poll.
Poll. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Brain cramp. So when you have a poll about who, should weed be legalized, it's gone from 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, where it was like huge amount of people like, no, it shouldn't be legalized, it's bad. To now, it's over 50% on a regular.
Yeah.
People are like, no, it should
Yeah.
be legalized.
That's
Just
the
legalize it.
education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've actually
Yeah.
figured out,
Yeah, this is
what
bad.
we thought.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not what they said,
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
which I think people well, maybe they didn't know.
I think a lot of people today forget that it wasn't illegal as soon back as the 60s.
Yeah.
Right.
They're like, wait a second. It's almost like they didn't register. Like it's always been bad. It's always been bad.
Yeah, they always
It's
assume
always,
that.
it's always bad. Always been a drug. Like they don't really think about
Yeah.
that because it's been.
So was it
generations.
60s? I thought it was the late 20s or something that marijuana was made illegal.
There were a couple different times in and out, but there were, because it's gone
Back
in,
and
it's
forth?
gone out. Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
first time was all based on the paper mills and things like
Yeah.
that. You remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
And then during, I think it was during World War II, it was not illegal anymore because they needed all that production. We needed materials.
Yeah.
So we needed shit like all
Hemp.
of our clothes.
Yeah.
And we needed that
Yeah,
hemp.
you
So
definitely needed hemp back
then
then.
you wind up kind of getting yourself into a situation of needing
Yeah.
those things, and yeah.
That's interesting.
That's
pretty cool.
So it's
I don't know. See what happens.
Well,
Think,
yeah.
think it's legal in another 10 years?
I think less than 10, man.
Think less,
Yeah.
nationally. I've
It's-
heard them already
yeah.
talking about proposing stuff. Like I think problem is it's our politics. The way everything is so divisive right now. So
Oh,
one side
man.
brings up something, the other side's like, hell no. we're
Yeah.
not doing that.
What are you talking about?
I just, and okay, I got to hit on that a little bit. I'm going to hit on politics for a
Oh,
little bit.
here we go.
Because this is the thing, is that, I'm universal in how I say this, and I've said this for a long time. I am not judgmental if you are a liberal, a middle, a conservative, a this, a that. I don't give a shit if whatever it is your opinion is based in some realm of factual basis and logic.
Right.
Right. And that doesn't mean agree with me. It absolutely doesn't mean agree with me. Right.
Yeah.
But I get into these things, and I really do. I avoid a lot of them. I'm getting good at that on social media. Right. You can kind of tell, like, okay, there's no saving this person
Right.
type situation. And when I say I'm saving this person, I'm not saying convert them to anything.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, hey, let's give them a piece of reality.
Yeah.
And then let them, if they continue to think that direction, but it's drawn back in and it's in logic and reality and factual, then great, I love it. But we get into these things and it's, I forget what one of the ones, it's some post about when President Trump sent the letter to cancel the meeting
Right.
with North Korea, Kim Jong-un,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It was something, hate this, hate that, and all this kind of stuff. And I had made some sort of an uncomment, like, hey, it's a negotiation tactic. This doesn't mean the meeting really is gone. And now this was the day it was going on, right?
Yeah.
And is that deal? And you know, meetings like this have come and gone all the way that we know, from Carter to Reagan to, you know, Clinton, all the way through, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's listed several of the presidents and this. So then I get the thing back of how ridiculous I am as a human being, because I'm putting Trump in the same category as Clinton, Reagan, Bush, Carter, Obama.
Why is that ridiculous?
That was my thing. I was like, well, how is that ridiculous? Man, I was like, he's the president of the United States. He was like, something about how outrageous and disrespectful and inhumane it is to me to group them into the same people. I'm like, well, if you can't recognize that he's the president of the United States, then we've got issues. Like, you don't need to be part of any discussion, any debate. Like, he's your president.
Yeah.
If you're American, I don't know social media, right? It could be a British or, you know, somebody from another country. So it's like, that's where I'm getting with these people, is that I don't know how to combat that.
I don't even have the discussion. It's not even worth having a discussion.
You got to,
because
it's so polarizing.
But it's like, you can't, like, when they're coming from below, you know, less than zero on a subject, how do you bring them to just
2-0?
Yeah, like, I mean, they're so far off. There is no, these comparisons to Trump as this horrible person blows me away, because I'm like, look, man, I'm not saying the guy, like, he's a typical rich old dude, right?
Old
that's always been rich.
Tycoon.
Mm-hmm.
He's no different than any of these other guys, right? He's just exposed, and he exposes himself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so now you're seeing this, like, so, like, we'll take the Stormy Daniels thing, right? Everybody, they try to make an issue of that. It's like, is that really a shock that an old guy paid a famous porn star for sex? Like, I'm pretty sure that happens on a regular basis.
Like, are we really shocked by this?
So why is that a big deal? Because JFK, I just heard a story about JFK.
Oh, man.
Freaking in Paris, set up so he goes to Paris for his first European trip.
Yeah.
And he sets up there's like this really famous madam in Paris at that time, like super famous. And he wanted to hook up with one of her girls. So his press secretary or private secretary sets it up, talks this madam into like hooking the president of the United States up. And I guess at first she was a little nervous about it. She's like, I don't want this to blow up in my face. Right? Yeah. And then a guy talked her into it. And I think he even used the line, you know, do it for your country. Literally. That's what's reported, right? So she decides, you know, because this could go real well for you either way. Right?
Yeah.
So she goes, okay, fuck it. So we'll set him up with whatever girl he was interested in. So then he's supposed to meet up with this girl, and he had disguised an excuse of having to see a doctor while he's in Paris, because, you know, he had all those issues. And I guess he went to the wrong building, and he's knocking on the wrong doors looking for this prostitute. And he's like, this waking up some old Parisian lady. He's like 80 years old. The president of the United States is like, hey, is you know, Georgette here or whatever, you know? And so, but the point is, like, this has always been happening. Why are you acting like this is some
I know what
new
it was about.
thing?
The deal where Trump said something in regards of being American, being unapologetic of being an American,
Yeah,
and reference
what's wrong with
history and
that?
things of that nature and such.
We got a great history.
And they were going on.
Fuck everybody else.
How, yeah, right. But their deal was they immediately flipped it back to the racial thing.
Get the fuck out of here. Every place America's gone, the world is better. And I have no question. It's any place we've left, it's gone to shit.
Right.
So every place we've gone and stayed, it's better.
Yeah.
Germany. I grew up in Germany.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, it's pretty fucking, well, before East and West combined,
Well,
it was pretty
Germany,
fucking
Italy.
awesome.
I
It was
mean,
pretty fucking awesome.
well-
It's still pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, there's that
Japan,
picture.
pretty fucking awesome.
South
Korea,
Korea?
pretty fucking awesome. And they wouldn't be South Korea without America staying
Exactly.
there.
Yeah.
What happened to Iraq? Well, it was really improving till, hey, let's pull everybody the fuck out. And then
Yeah,
all
it
of a sudden, a
went to-
giant
yeah.
vacuum, and it blows up in our face.
Yeah.
But before then, it was stabilizing, and things were coming around.
Yeah.
So I fuck you. Every place we've gone, it's been better.
And this is where that super far left goes with it, is because Trump said it won, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so many times when Trump says anything, it becomes blasted out. And that they went to that America should be apologetic for certain things we've done in our history.
Nah, get the fuck out.
And I'm like,
We've paid that price.
oh, well, but you know, we still have so much racism, we still have so much social injustice. I'm like, mother shit, we're not perfect as a country. We're not perfect. Compare us to anywhere else.
Oh yeah, I don't
As a
think it's
whole.
comparable.
Don't pull out some shit that this country with 2 million people has a defense budget of $300. Don't give me that shit. Like, that is so outside of the realm of reality, and that's what you hear a lot. oh, well, the Netherlands, they have universal health care. It's free for everybody, and they work 4-day weeks, and their national defense budget zero.
Nobody
they're
lives
not-
there.
They don't have the population. that
I'm
we
like,
do.
it's
Yeah.
not the size, it's not the population. They had defense budget zero because of who? The U.S. and Britain.
Yeah.
Like, let's start like being
Yeah.
real about
Yeah.
it, and then say, okay, oh, so they're being afforded these rights, these privileges because of our sacrifice.
Well, in the influence that our country has on the world is beyond scope. People don't really, I don't think they have an understanding of it. If you look what just came out today so Russia's still our nemesis, even though they're much smaller, they're not the Soviet Union anymore. If you look at what came out today, where I think it's shown that I don't remember a few years ago that Ukrainian, I think it was a Ukrainian airliner that got shot down, or a Malaysian airliner that got shot down in Ukraine.
Yeah.
They've come out with the investigation revealed that it was an anti-aircraft missile that came out of a regular army Russian base out there.
Yeah.
That was in the middle of their conflict. So Russia's still denying it. Putin's still
They will.
denying it.
Yeah,
Putin's
they will.
a former KGB evil motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know. So that's still existence. And if we keep if they have their way, and we should reduce our defense budget which we've done before. And shit always goes wrong. If you
Yeah.
look at before World War II, we were like a fraction
Yeah.
of them. We were like this. I think I heard today the 16th largest military
Yeah.
in the world at that time. And what happens? Boom! You know, fucking Hitler starts tramping across Europe and Africa and all kinds of crazy shit.
We had to
Right?
scrounge and
So when we withdraw things, there's major negative effects on the world at large, because we are a force for good. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
We're not perfect, but our country's a force for good. The way we are set up and the way our system has developed, we are a force for good, and we have to project our influence on the world, or bad shit happens.
It is, yeah. And I know you're more liberal than us because we're old and military and set in our ways. Obviously, I mean, hello, right? You know, what's some of yours perspective or some of the younger people's perspective on some of the things going on? Like, is it really? Do they really, from a more liberal side, middle to liberal, whatever? Is it really just a hate Trump because Trump says it? Is it a hate Republicans because they're not our side, or is it a, like, what do you see? Does that make sense? Like, is it a team thing? Is it as tribal as what we see it, or?
To an extent, yeah. So for us, it's just not what we're used to. Hearing Trump say these things, and we say,
Yeah.
excuse me, did you say that? But yeah, and then being so, because we're, I guess in my generation, I've seen a lot of the liberals, libertarians, and all of them.
Yeah.
It's really left side, but they really just want a lot more social progression, and that's fine. And when our time comes, that's what's going to happen. Is we're going to get a hell of a lot of social progression. But then, yeah, not having, I guess, because when we sit down and when we talk about it, you know, as in us. You know, we can say, okay, well, it was this and this and this, and we can have a rational conversation without, you know, pulling in all the biases.
Right.
But a lot of times people don't get to react that way just because they get riled up, you know.
Yeah.
Because they have, you know, this is what I believe. I believe I'm left-sided, and, you know, right-sided is wrong, and then right side does something, or they accuse left side, and then it goes on, and it spirals out of control eventually.
So they're getting caught up in the arguments of it, not the substance of it.
Yes.
Is it safe to say that?
Absolutely. And I would say the reason for that is because left and right don't always educate themselves on what the actual problems are, or what we've been doing policy-wise, or what our solutions are. Real quick.
Yeah. Good.
Vietnam and Hawaii.
Hawaii. Are you from Hawaii?
No.
Oh, okay.
Two places that when we came in, it got worse. When
Well,
we left,
so
it did progressively
Vietnam
get
was
better.
going on long before we ever got there.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So with the French, and the
Yes,
British,
French
and all
came,
that
the English
stuff.
came, and yeah.
And if you look at, so let's look at Vietnam. When we pulled out, what happened? Cambodia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The domino theory was
Yeah.
actually in effect with communism. The Soviet Union, they put their influence into Cambodia. And
Yeah.
how many
Yeah.
people died in Cambodia?
Oh,
Like 1 million?
Yeah.
it was close to.
Close.
that.
Yeah.
And that was from us leaving. Right. And there was a lot of issues with how Vietnam was run because it was a politically run war.
Yeah.
We were so worried about the public. There's a lot going on in our country, right? 60s.
Yeah.
That was a crazy. It's
There
a
was
very,
quite a bit
very
going on. You're
turbulent
absolutely
time.
right, yeah.
So it was a very difficult time to conduct a war.
Yeah.
We were going through a cultural revolution
And
at that
I
time.
hate to say,
we didn't conduct it
yeah.
properly.
No,
if
we
we had
didn't.
conducted that war properly, Vietnam would be better off.
Absolutely.
Is what I
that
feel.
agree with.
And I think Vietnam, I hate it because I hate when people do this to me when they use the term it's different. But I think Vietnam was a unique situation for American involvement.
Yes.
Because we weren't there from the beginning. We came in. It was an attempt to clean up. It was kind of half-hearted. It wasn't. It was a really
we
weird.
as a population weren't fully committed to it.
Right.
No, we
And
weren't.
anytime you do anything in regards to draft and forcing people, and we're not a volunteer force anymore, you change the dynamics of it. It was just not. It was different, but not to try to skirt it. It was different in the sense of every aspect of that war and conflict doesn't match any other war or conflict that America's been a part of.
No, absolutely. There was very, very little preparation with extremely poor execution.
Yeah.
And that's what it came to.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, anytime your president is looking over aerial photos and saying, let's bomb this and bomb that,
Yeah,
you've
exactly.
got a
You
problem.
got issues. Yeah, you got
There's a
Excuse me, did-
major problem.
big issues.
So,
yeah.
there's a lot of issues with
And
Vietnam.
when they approve things like, oh, yeah, this chemical will completely clear out all the forests.
Yeah, well, Agent Orange. Well, my dad, he was part. So, interesting story about that because, our country ended up having to repay a lot of veterans because my dad was in Vietnam.
Yeah.
So, they had to end up repaying a lot of veterans and their families for the effects of Agent Orange. And my mom actually ended up getting a lot of money from out of one of those settlements because my dad was, in those areas where they were, my dad died really young too, and he was 47. I'm 44. It's 3 years away from where I'm at. But, yeah, so I mean, Vietnam was a clusterfuck, but I don't think it was for the concept of stopping Soviet aggression was correct. Soviet aggression was bad, but the way they went about Vietnam was horrible.
Yeah,
and that shows when you let a chief executive not hand over his military plans and his military strategy to his generals and let them fucking conduct their war and eat the bad press that's going to come from it. You just got to deal with it. Then you get that. You get that leads to stuff like that. And plus, you're right. It was a slow progression. We were sending a few advisors.
It was a weird.
Next thing you know, we go from 500 to 2,000 to 10,000 very slowly.
It was a mess.
Yeah, it was weird, and it was a different kind of war too. I don't think we'd ever even fought a war.
Not like that.
In
We
that,
hadn't
like
fought
that,
guerrilla fighting
yeah,
like that
guerrilla
before.
fighting.
Yeah.
Although we weren't never losing. I think I read we never really lost any battles in Vietnam.
Right.
We lost the political war.
Right.
Right. They took on way more casualties than we took on.
Yeah.
But we just lost that political war. Right. And it started turning into the thing with body counts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me body counts.
And the
which may
American
have led to
people
Me
couldn't
Lie and
stomach
stuff
the
like
war.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then the final push.
Yeah.
Well,
so
Tet
what-
was all they had.
Yeah.
Like Tet was
Yeah,
like
Tet
that was
was-
it.
that
If
was
we had
it.
stayed after Tet, they didn't have a whole lot left. They threw everything they had at us,
Yeah.
and their thought was, big PR win gets them out, and they were right.
Yeah.
That's all it took to get a lot of American bodies on TV,
Yeah, exactly.
and they're gonna run, and
Yeah.
they were right.
So what about Hawaii? So talk to me about that one.
So I guess this would have been taking Hawaii and giving it to business people. So Hawaii was once just for Hawaiians, just for Pacific Islanders.
Yeah.
Right.
So the annexation of it, or I'm trying to think of what.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was originally a Queen of Hawaii.
Yeah.
And they pulled her absolutely out of power, and then completely westernized that island.
Right.
Right, not for the better, making Hawaiians second-class citizens.
Yeah.
Right, and so essentially impoverishing them, pulling away their culture, pulling away their, what they did, what their traditions were, and that was something that slowly died off. And now, as we're getting back to it, and as this whole left side thing is coming back up, Hawaiians are pushing back, and they're
Right.
okay. But the whole bit with that was when we came, we just dropped business people in it. Look, capitalism on its worst form, take its course.
What was annexation? 48?
I don't know.
That sounds about right. Yeah,
I think it was 48, right?
somewhere in the 40s.
Which then would kind of, because I know the history, I've never dived deep into it. I know the surface of it. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, well, if it was late 40s, we're just coming off of all that
World War II.
nonsense.
Well, we're
We still
starting
had-
into Korea.
We still had
Cold War. Or the Cold War is starting. In full
and so
effect.
it would have been World War II, or it would have been around there. And
Yeah.
so you would have had those. That's still that demographic of people.
Yeah.
And that's still that.
So we'll take Hawaii then. Is Hawaii worse off now, minus the volcano? Is that
Yeah,
still?
don't-
Is that thing still
Don't have
going?
anything to do with
Is
it,
that thing
yeah.
still going?
It's still going.
Minus the volcano, is Hawaii worse off now than what it was before?
For original Hawaiians, yeah. But for when we're talking just pure economics,
I mean, do they benefit from being a part of the United States, like as a whole?
Oh, I mean,
that
Do you see my
Probably to an
point? Do you see my
extent, yeah.
point? Do you see my
Yeah.
point? So there's always pain, and I don't know the story of Hawaii as well as you do at all. Like I'm not even sure what year it was annexed.
okay,
I know
so it was. Well, I mean, I'm talking. Became a state,
became a
and it
state.
was 59.
59.
Yeah, so it became
okay.
it became a territory.
That we just
back in
kinda
the
took it over.
1800s, But
Did they vote on it, or we just take it?
well, it was in the 1800s when
there
we
was no voting.
territoried it.
Well, when we turned it into a state,
There is a process to make that happen. So
right? Because like they talk about with
we-
Puerto Rico.
We did.
What are we going to do? The Puerto Ricans want it. They're talking about Puerto Ricans voting to allow themselves to maybe become a state.
So yeah, the Hawaiians had to vote to say it's okay for us to vote to be able to bring.
right, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So was there like any kind of voting process involved?
Yeah.
I don't know.
How
Like, I don't
legit
know
it was
that. I
in
don't
the
know that.
1800s.
Yeah,
I don't
think
know,
that's-
but
that's
Well, I'm not
what-
talking. The
Yeah.
1800s almost
Yeah.
doesn't count because we're taking.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
1800s
So then it
was
was
the
a
we're
terrible-
Yeah,
Western
and so
progression.
that's-
we're taking, which is
Yeah.
look, it is what it is. That's the way the world
What
works.
you got to
Yeah.
figure is in
Right?
in the 50s we had military bases and all those things.
We were
that
already
are
Pearl
Hawaiian
Harbor,
residents.
right?
They're
I mean,
Hawaiian residents, right?
reason-
So
yeah.
when you have thousands and thousands and thousands of military personnel there that are residents, they get to vote for that too. That's why I'm like, I don't know how many pure Hawaiians voted.
But I wonder.
Yeah.
So my question would be: so
Are they
is
better?
it better off now? Like, is Hawaii a better place to be now? Is it a bad place to be because we've taken over?
It's not a. I don't think it's a bad place.
Or we've made it a state.
It.
Now is in now.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
So that would go back to my point of wherever we go, it gets better.
Yeah, and
It
that's why
gets
is it
better.
I'm like,
There's always a painful process, but it gets better.
There's
Yeah.
a paper.
no, which is true, but that's like when you're like, well, is it better? And I'm like, you got to define better. I'm like, crap, dude.
Yeah.
You know, like
And then you have to ask yourself, without the influence, would it have progressed?
What would it have turned into? Right.
Yeah, and so
Where would
that
they
we,
be?
that we can't ever be
likely,
sure.
No, we won't know.
Likely, it would have been very similar to all the other Pacific islands.
Yeah.
You know, even go into the Philippines and Indonesia and Marianas Islands and Truk Islands and all
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
You'd have to say it would be very similar to their progression if we didn't have the influence we did.
Yeah.
But if we weren't there, sure as shit, China or Japan or Russia or someone else, those islands are
trying to-
key,
Japan
dude.
Yeah, they're trying to.
Those
take
islands are so key strategically that somebody's scooping them up. So inevitably, when you take sort of, and now this goes back to my argument as far as like going far right or far left.
Yeah.
When you say, okay, well, is Hawaii better? Really, what the question is Hawaii better under U.S. control, Japanese control, Chinese control, or Russian control?
That's fair,
really
yeah.
that's really the question you have to ask because somebody's scooping it up.
Yeah.
And if U.S. didn't have it, then there's probably going to be more war there.
Yeah.
So then you have to start saying, okay, well, what are the, not just, is it just simply better or worse? Like
Right.
that can't necessarily be the question. It's going to be, is it better or worse with the most plausible situations
Yeah,
of
yeah,
that
yeah.
of that
Just
region?
find the probability of whatever situation
Right.
is going to come out of it.
Because they
Depending
wouldn't
on
have been
what's
a sovereign country. I guarantee that.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah.
Well,
So I would argue to say that,
yeah, I guess at the
We
time
are-
of imperialism,
yeah.
something was going to happen.
yeah.
And so that's fair. We'll just work on execution next time.
Well, yeah, and that's,
Oh,
It
back
falls
then,
back
things
on-
were
Yeah.
done the way they were done.
man,
Yeah, it's happened, so we're
you
gonna
know,
have to work on
yeah,
that next.
things are going around. But that's
Well-
kind of, yeah, that's my deal as
But
far as,
it's coming back, and so culturally, and this is another pleasurable thing to see is culturally, you know, Hawaii or like tradition New Zealand culture is coming back, and so you get to
Yeah.
see, you know, that sort of progression,
yeah.
and so. But I mean that just becomes, you know, oh well, we don't need it for military purposes, and our capitalism is more open door than it used to be. So now we got to be who we were.
Which
I
is
think that's
good.
the whole fun of it.
I think that's a good thing. But I think this happens. I think, you know, we're as a country, Memorial Day, coming back to Memorial Day. We as a country are growing and improving all the time.
Yes.
And I think there's
Absolutely.
no question you can say that where we were at the beginning to today, there's a lot of really good things.
Absolutely.
There's some things I don't think are better, but I think mostly we're a much better place than we started off to be.
You could simplify it in this way: we are better today than we were 10 years ago because more people have a voice.
We are, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Just through education, through social media,
Yeah.
through internet, where people, have the chance. They, instead of just, I remember having discussions back in the day. It was someone said something. You go, okay,
Yeah, that's the way
you
it
didn't
is.
know.
Yeah.
Now it's like, hold on a second, let me check Google, and
Yeah.
you can look up the
Yeah,
information
that's
right
it.
there,
Yeah.
and you can get the correct information immediately. So you have the ability to educate yourself just by owning a fucking cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is insane.
quick.
So people are able to look up information quickly and be more educated. That's why I think we're seeing this. There's a weird new thing, and I think you're seeing a little bit of it with the Trump phenomenon with politics in our country, where people they're no longer really Republican or Democrat. I think you're seeing the extremes played out in media.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
But like for myself, for instance, I don't really categorize myself in either camp. I'm definitely more a conservative person, but I'm not. Definitely don't categorize myself as like a Republican.
Yeah.
I'm definitely, because socially there's a lot of issues I'm very liberal on.
Yeah.
Obviously, when it comes to national defense, stuff like that, I'm very conservative from my background. But I think more people are hybrids. More people are libertarian, and I don't even know if people. I think
Traditional libertarian.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, traditional, not.
They're hybrid with their views, because I know people that I may disagree with them on a lot of issues, but then I agree with them on a lot of issues too.
Yeah.
So it's just we all are. I think people are thinking for themselves more and taking each issue individually and going, how do I feel about this issue? Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. They don't give a shit
Yeah.
about what left or right thinks about
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's happening more, and I think you're seeing the transition. Like that's why you have someone like Trump, who's not really a Republican.
No.
He's not a
No.
Republican.
He's giving more
Right?
money to Democrats than you could
Right.
Yeah.
count.
So
Yeah.
he does conservative things,
Yes.
right? Playing to getting reelected,
Yeah.
more likely than anything else. But he's not, like you see his statements, like this guy's not a fucking Republican.
Yeah.
I don't know I think he's not anything really.
He's
just
just situational.
Yeah.
yeah, he's situational. He's like, well, how does this benefit me? And some of it I'm sure is his personal beliefs maybe,
Yeah.
but how does this benefit me? And I think that's where you see how it
I think it's
play out.
this. This is a pro-Trump statement. Okay, let everybody get their panties out of a wad now. I think Trump is a situationalist, and what I like is I feel like if you ask him about any situation, anywhere, at any time, his answer, if he just spit it out, it depends.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's so true.
Seriously, in good ways and bad ways and whatever. Because he's like, is the meeting gonna happen with North Korea? It depends.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say yes, because if I say yes and it doesn't, you're gonna kill me. If I say no and it does, you're gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And if it's this, is that, and it depends, because how's North Korea gonna conduct themselves between now and the meeting?
Yeah.
They started to act like a turd. He's like, fuck it, meeting's off. Then they jump back instantly within an hour and a half. And we're like, whoa, really, we didn't mean it. It's cool. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Went and met with South Korea again. Still continue with their denuclearization. And guess what? We're probably still going to have it on the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
we'll
see.
see.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is. It's a we'll see.
It is very
but
much.
so it's those types of deals. And that's one of the things that I like about his style, is that he's very fluid with it.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's good. It's good to have somebody that can account for variables.
Yeah.
And so I guess to that point, it depends is definitely a positive.
Yeah. And that's not going to float everybody's boat, and it doesn't need to.
Well, I
because-
think when you get people playing teams, it's like, he's playing off the script. He's
Yeah.
playing off
that's
script.
exactly
What's
it,
he doing?
I love
And I
that,
think that's
though.
been good, though. I think it's really been good. Like, I remember we've talked about this before, where it was like, part of me was like, I kind of want to see him elected because I know he's not part of the establishment. Not really. So it's going to be weird to see how that affects everything once he's in there. If he does start blowing shit up and fucking things up that's been going on, fucking everybody's pockets up.
Oh, that's how that happens.
Right. And so you're kind of seeing it, right? Like with
Yeah.
North Korea, he took a completely different stance than anybody else has taken.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, fuck you, I got a bigger red button. And everybody freaked out.
And then-
but Jesus
but it
Christ,
worked.
it worked. Right? North Korea's like, whoa. With China, he's like, fuck you, I will trade embargo your ass.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Everybody's like, you can't do that with China. guess what?
6 hours later,
It works.
Yeah.
because of time difference. Primarily.
Yeah.
6 hours later, he's like, okay, we
Right.
reduce ours,
You know,
yours.
So him flexing his whatever American muscle, it's kind of been working so
Yeah.
far.
And look
It's only been a year and a half or whatever.
NATO,
Yeah.
he's like,
That's true.
if
Yeah,
you guys
yeah,
don't,
yeah.
if you don't pay your share, we're out, dude. We're out.
Yeah.
Love it. It's a great organization, but it's
It's
not
true.
on
I
us.
forgot about NATO.
Then what happened? Every country has increased their input by 30 to 40%. I don't remember the exact number,
Yeah.
but significant financial input to the cause.
So far, it's working. We'll see.
And I'm
It's
like-
early. It's
Yeah,
early.
exactly.
No, it's early. But I'm like, how's this dude doing this shit?
Well, he's doing. You know, it's almost like you put like Joe Schmo, who's we're always bullshitting. You know, if we just fucking told them to go fuck themselves, it would work.
And he's doing it.
And and then so now Joe Schmo's in the White House
Yeah,
going,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know what? You go fuck yourself. And it's like, all right, we'll do it.
Yeah.
It's fucking working. Like the guy from Cleveland that works real hard,
Yeah,
12 hours
yeah.
a day. He's in the White House and it's fucking working.
In some respects, you're right on, man. Because he's like, I think this congressman's an asshole. Hey,
You're an
Congressman,
asshole.
I think you're an asshole. Send. I'm like, he just tweeted that shit to the world.
Yeah.
And then Congressman comes around. Look,
He's like, look, I know, dude. Really,
I'll get on board with your bill. It's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm like,
It worked.
I'm speechless, dude. I'm speechless.
Yeah.
And again, by no means am I for everything Trump's done, and he's
It's
done
fun to
some crazy
watch.
shit, but it is so entertaining, so entertaining.
It's fun. I think and the other fun part of it, we kind of talked about it before, was seeing like everybody who's so anti-Trump, their response. Because like whatever he's for, they're against.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I swear to God, he could be for cuddling babies.
Yeah.
And they would come out and say, that is bad.
Oh,
you
you're
are
gonna spread
treating,
disease.
you're going to
You're-
spread something bad
Yeah.
about cuddling
Child
babies.
abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He cuddles them too hard. He squeezes too hard.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
you
You're
had
for
sex
it.
with Stormy Daniels and you touched a baby.
Yes, you're
You know,
spreading.
like
Yeah.
you get that right.
Well, and like Stormy Daniels was like a hero for a little while, right?
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
porn
yeah.
star who literally took money to have sex with a married man
And was paid to shut up.
and was paid to and agreed to it.
Yeah.
But now she's a star. She's a hero. What's wrong with you guys? You guys are like fucking this all up. Like you guys are so fucking it up. And now I know we're getting deep into politics, but now even the latest polls coming out are showing the Democrats may not take the House.
Yeah,
They're fucking up their little blue wave.
It went from a 18, roughly in the polls, 18 percentage point gain as far as votes to and now it's in the +-3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
So they may not
What
get
the
control of the
hell
House,
is
and
going
then now you got more unfettered Trump.
so and I know you're not a big, I know you're not
Exactly.
I know you're not a big Trump fan, right? But is it entertaining to you, or do you take it? Do you watch it
It's
too personally?
interesting. Yeah, I don't jump into it too much. I don't put a lot of, I guess, emotional bias to it.
Yeah.
So I just hear the things. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
Well, because like this is,
Why?
I'll take one of the
Why?
funnier ones, right? So when he got what's your nuts? Anyway, and he was just like something Pocahontas can't do, or something.
Yeah,
Go talk to
Oh.
Pocahontas about it.
That is so funny.
I was just like, I literally, without any exaggeration, because I heard it the very first time. I didn't read it. I didn't know
Yeah.
anything about it. I heard it. I teared up, like laughing so hard.
it was so funny.
I was like, this is the funniest thing.
Well, what's funny about it is it's true, and so people try to say it's true. She lied.
Yeah.
She lied, straight out lied. But the Democrats try to act like that didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
So he calls her out like in the work, like if you're
Yeah.
fucking hanging out at work.
brutal wave off.
Yeah, and it's hilarious, and people identify with that, right? Like
Yeah,
we're laughing about it. That's
yeah.
fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, they try to spin it into he's a racist. It's like no, she's the racist for claiming to be something she's not to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
benefits from it. That's what makes it so fucking hilarious.
And he's being funny.
Yeah, he's making a joke. He's
hilarious.
his name tags on people are
Oh, it's-
phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, he'll tag
Oh.
somebody, Joe the liar, or or whatever. Hillary the. How is he calling Hillary for a while? I can't remember. But man,
A
he
bunch. I don't know. Killary was one. and
Hillary.
then
Yeah,
there was
he
anyway,
called her a
it's
lot of stuff, and it sticks, and it's funny. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's just coming up with this on his own. Because I know his guys around him are like,
Nobody's
yeah,
writing
use
that.
this. They're
I
like,
would-
don't do it.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Don't say that.
But he's like,
don't
nah.
do that.
And then
they-
everybody's
you know,
laughing.
They want to keep getting his phone so he can't tweet, and you just see him back there.
Yeah.
Like, right? That's what I envision. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I envision.
They talk about capturing that phone and hiding it. They're like, oh, gotta get it from him.
He'd be like, I'm a
You're talking to
billionaire, I'll buy
Melania.
another phone.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
They're like, Melania, please just snatch it and throw it out the door.
She's like, you.
Yeah, exactly.
I ain't get into that mess.
No, so like I get to see him and I get to like hear about him and talk with people. I'm like, I just want to know why. I don't particularly care about the what. I just want to understand why he does it the most.
I think this. So this is what you should do. So I'm gonna give you a snap because I know we gotta wrap it up. But this is what I want you to do.
Okay.
Google history of Trump.
Okay.
Okay, and watch a lot of videos from him because
Okay.
there's videos and there's footage of him from early '80s on that he is saying the exact same thing he's saying today in 1981.
Yeah.
To Oprah, to Phil Donahue at the time, to
Yeah, he did.
newscasters
He did
at
say
the time.
those same things.
The same thing. And they're like, "Are you gonna? It sounds like you're gonna try to run for president. You're gonna be president." He says the same thing. Like it's literally just like, it's so you can't hate him for being inconsistent.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But he does. 30 years ago, he was 30 years younger, and he did have a little more charisma back then and spoke better because he's 30 years younger, right?
Yeah.
He's in his 40s, not his 70s, right? So you're going to get a little bit more of an explanation of things. So when you're like the why, I'm telling you, go back and look. And I'm not saying you're going to go agree with him.
Yeah.
By no means is it a go watch so you can be a pro-Trump. No, I give two shits if you wear a red hat or not. The point is that it'll answer that why.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh, I get it. I know you don't agree with it, but you're like, I understand.
I think he's a little more blatant about it because he's older.
Yeah.
Like, how old guys get to where they just
They
don't give a fuck.
Okay.
Right? Your don't give a fuck meter goes way higher as you get older, which I'm experiencing now. The older I get, the less I give a fuck about things.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine when I'm 75, if I make it that long. Jesus Christ.
You're
I literally will, man. I don't want to be around me then. I'll be such an asshole because I'm already a little bit of an asshole. I can't imagine then. So he's at that level. He's at that stage.
You'll be fine. Yeah.
I'll have fun.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I'll have a great time. I'm gonna have a great time. I don't know about everybody around me.
You're
I'm gonna have a great time.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
I'm like, please just give me some grandkids to embarrass the hell out of.
Yeah.
Please.
Don't worry, those kids are gonna grow fast. You're gonna be eating those words pretty soon.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so give that a shot, and then we'll talk about it after
No, that's definitely I'm definitely gonna check that out and just see. I would just like to know who I'm thinking about and talking about.
He literally is the same guy. It's funny to go back and you'll hear him say the same shit. Even though it sounds like he's unhinged, he's clearly thought about this. I think one thing he said one time was, I don't know if it was on Oprah or Donahue or something. They were like, oh, are you going to run for president? And he's like, only if I think it's necessary or something like that. Something to that effect. Yeah. And so you're like, you know what's ever weird? You ever see the...
it depends, yeah.
Well, so you know what's... And I guess maybe everybody kind of saw it coming, but like with The Simpsons where they showed Trump winning the presidency 10 years before he actually...
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody kind of knew that I think Trump would... I mean, he'd run a couple times before.
Yeah.
So I think everybody knew. But it's kind of funny to see like where cartoons predict.
Yeah,
things like where Family Guys predicted some stuff.
That's
Not
scary.
such good stuff though.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, like
Can't always have the good end of things.
yeah.
No.
But
South Park hasn't predicted much, though. I'm a little upset at them.
I love South Park.
Highly entertaining, but they haven't really predicted much.
I used to watch it religiously.
South Park's
Yeah,
great.
it's so bad.
Oh, they're bad.
South
dude.
Park's great.
They're bad. Yeah,
And their
man.
new episodes with the PC just nonsense is the best.
They don't give a fuck either.
Yeah.
Head comedies,
That's
that's
what
what, yeah,
they
that's
don't
what's
care.
great. It's everybody loves it. It's not sanitized. It's not watered down.
Yeah.
I think that's what the thing is. Trump, he's just not watered down.
And that's, you got to appreciate it. Not agree with it, but you have to appreciate you're getting brutal honesty.
Yeah.
You know exactly what he thinks.
Yeah, he's not full of shit.
And that I agree with. I agree with just being just 100% who you are. And so if he's that way, then cool.
The last
Let him
one-
be that way.
Yeah,
The Iran deal.
yeah,
He's like, what am I going to do? We're America. I'm out.
yeah,
Peace.
yeah,
Figure it out.
yeah. It was a good move.
And then they're like, oh, we're going to blah, blah.
You ain't gonna do shit.
What are they doing? But they're crying.
Yeah.
Because now they don't have money.
Yeah.
Some of their funds are
Yeah,
taken away.
sure,
You know,
yeah.
does that make sense? So it's just like,
Some.
and who's going to replace it? Nobody's going to replace that money that we were going to be giving them.
No, hell no. Ain't no we got the money to replace
So
it
then
with
it's
that.
just like, in many regards, it's almost like the village idiot got lucky in some regards. Does that make sense? And he's not an idiot, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, we're just like, there is no way. Here's a list of 10 things that are absolutely the worst thing possible that will absolutely lead to disaster. And he does all 10, and it's a massive success.
Yeah.
And you're like, shit. I have no idea how that just happened. My button's bigger than yours. Little Rocket Man.
Little Rocket. See, that's another great. That's so great.
Little Rocket Man.
Tagged him with that.
I'm still
Little Rocket Man.
every time I hear that.
That was only, what, 6 months ago? That was like 6 months ago. Little Rocket Man, and then what's he doing? He's denuclearizing and giving people back.
The other consequence to this, which could be good or bad, is not everybody thinks they can run for president. Because it could be Trump versus Joe Biden in 2000.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
That is going to be amazing. Talk about two people that say the craziest shit.
Oh.
You got Crazy Joe and Donald Trump.
My only request in that is that you take the next year and a half.
That's going to be drinking games galore. You're going to have all these great drinking games off of that.
Dude,
every debate.
But just, you have to teach Biden how to tweet better.
What if he gets into tweeting? What if Joe gets into tweeting?
That's what I'm saying. That's my
his
only
tweets would be
request.
just as banana as Trump. Joe's bananas. Like the shit he has said. Like, remember when he was he was running for vice president with I think Obama on the second time? They went into some convenience store and he said something about, I thought all people were Indians that ran these stores or some shit like that. And you're like, hello? Did anybody hear that? Why is no one talking about that?
Oh, please.
That's Joe for you.
That's just Joe. That's what they say. That's just Joe.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got that guy and Trump on a stage.
Oh.
It's going to be amazing.
I would love that, yeah.
Please. Because he'll crush anybody else. Like Pocahontas, if she makes it.
Oh, man, no.
She won't last 2 seconds.
You need someone that's on the same wavelength as him.
Joe Biden. It's got to be Joe versus Trump.
You know how amazing that would be?
That's the only thing I watched.
Let's make that prediction right now.
Please.
begging.
Joe's running.
Trump,
Joe's running.
Well,
I think
it's get there, though, you know?
he's going to run. Like they're saying he's going to run. Like he's setting it up. He's doing all the little things.
Please.
You know how amazing that would be?
This brought me hope. I'm excited now.
Dude, that's literally what was that damn movie that came out a while back where it showed that like U.S. turned upside down with like TV reality presidents. Idiocracy.
Oh my
that is
God.
Idiocracy coming to fruition right there.
Can you imagine?
It's so great.
And then you'll find out later
Best year of my
that
life.
Trump funded Biden's campaign to
Just
be able
to
to
get
make it.
exactly.
Because he knew it was good for ratings. That'll be the next conspiracy. Wait, is it legal for the president to fund his opponents?
Did he violate any election laws?
Like, I don't know.
He gave him too much money.
Yeah.
You got to impeach. You got to impeach him. He gave Joe too much money. Could you imagine? Holy God.
Oh, please.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
That was my fun for Memorial
I got to
Day.
go
I'm gonna
home
dream
before my
about that.
girlfriend kills me.
Yeah, she's
to
gonna,
the
yeah.
pool. I was,
Well,
told,
then
I was
remember-
told 12 o'clock. Remember?
I agreed that I'd clean it up.
She gave you a hard deadline there. I had to be
My
home by
wife's
12.
Filipino, so we'll go on Filipino time. You're
What does
good.
that
You're
mean?
safe. That means you're never on time for anything.
She doesn't listen to anybody else.
Everything.
Oh, well, all right. Well,
I'm probably she don't give a shit.
she'll get you first.
Yeah,
She'll
exactly.
choke
And
me
I'm
out.
safe.
She'll choke my ass out as soon as I want.
That's what I'm-
She's
yeah.
good too.
I like that. She's got that little bit of like.
Oh, she's got
she'll
it.
Get you. See.
She's a monster.
Yeah.
She's a monster.
I'm working on the.
I feel sorry for anybody that thinks that she's just a little girl. She's a monster on the mat.
But you
She's
can- you
choking
can
out
see it.
dudes all the time.
You can see it. She got that little look of crazy in her.
So she put a guy to sleep the other day.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
He was like,
No,
"Damn
no,
it,
no.
Jason." She was like, "Damn it, Jason. What are you teaching her?" I'm like, "Look, man, I can't take credit for that. She's her own beast.
Yeah.
She's little here. Get some of that chin easy.
She got those long limbs too. Ugh.
Ooh, ouch. Pain, man. Awesome. So thank you guys.
All right, man,
That
it
was
was
fun
fun.
today.
Hell yeah.
Good
I
stuff.
appreciate this.
All
Yeah.
right, man.
So Memorial's Day. Thanks for everybody that joined us today or listening later or
For sure.
whatever the heck you guys are gonna be doing, man. Yeah.
Barbecuing.
And we're gonna go eat.
Eating.
Well, I'm gonna go work out. You
Yeah.
can't because you're old and hurt. And
I'm
you
not
gotta-
allowed to today.
You're on restriction, buddy.
Today's.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
Memorial Restriction Day.
I'm-
That's your
yeah,
day.
It's
all
okay.
right, dude.
I can take the day off.
Awesome. So thanks everybody. Appreciate it. See you guys.